amazing. It's clash heads again. This is like Chaz Mostert and Cam Water.
For the first time here for season 3. Davis on pole, Vandergren in second. It's going to be sprint round action here tonight. Let's go racing here at Daytona. It was a good start there from Davis in comparison to Vandergren in behind. Cowan's absolutely bogged it up and already dropped out of the top 3 here as they come down towards turn 1 for the first time. There's biffing and barging between Gallen and Cowan. These guys are still going at it after last season. They survived for this time by though. Through turn 2 and 3 they come. Nice and clean, boys. Keep it up as they come up to...
I love riding. It's a real social thing. There's a great bond between riders.
Every weekend I look forward to getting out there. It's a freedom like no other.
Riding to work is a great way to start the day.
Shannons insure all types of road bikes, not just classics. They offer features riders really want. It's why they're one of Australia's leading motorcycle insurance providers.
Whatever you ride, whatever you ride,
Whatever you ride.
ride with Shannons.
Call 134646 for a quote.
Through turn 1, it was a horrible start from De Bono. He's absolutely bogged it up and gets eaten alive by Dixon and Gowans as they come on through. Through turn 1 they come, and they all spread out around in towards the first sector of the Silverstone circuit. They look all right at the moment. Okay, there's already been a car spun round. That's Jordan Ferguson offline.
Is green at Road Atlanta here as well. Faulkner did get away. De Bono is tucked in as well. Unfortunately, Houghton is on that outside line. De Bono does want alternative turns. He's got the job. De Bono's overtaken. Now can he get Ben Faulkner up through turns for 2 and 3? They go round the right-hander, dropping down the hill. Faulkner's out in front. De Bono second. Houghton third. Ratcliffe in fourth. No real dramas going into turn 1.
We've always had a few cars. They're all special. The T-Bird.
Oh, that's mine.
The Combi for when we want to get away. The XR8.
It's going to be a classic.
They're all insured with Shannons,
We've also got Shannon's home and contents cover.
which helps protect our automotive collectibles, tools and memorabilia in the home and garage. If you're motoring enthusiasts like us, it's got to be.
Shannon's.
Shannons, insurance for motoring enthusiasts. Call 134646 for a quote.
This is amazing. It's clash heads again. This is like Chaz Mostert and Cam Waters. Almost the same situation. Better contact going down the hill. Sam Noble wants to snip on Dave Coleman now. Sam Noble's bottle right now because tell you what, Bruce Tanak and Jamie Dyson just absolutely drove away from us. Hayden trying to go around the outside. This is where he could have just sent it up the inside, but he hasn't committed, which is fair enough. It's very scary out there, ladies and gentlemen. Let's see if we get a good ride. God's just absolutely think about it. It's a really nice move. Blake Delaney had to move out of the way.
Good evening, good morning, good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, wherever you may be watching from, and welcome back to Season 3 of 2024 of the Cooler Master Super Formula Championship here on SRWtv. We head to the Great White North for Canadian Tyre Motorsport Park for a fast-paced yet technical race displayed by these open wheelers here out at Mosport. I'm your commentator here tonight, Hamish Munro, joined once again by Brad Hudson. Hutto, this race, it could be the first of a three-peat of chaotic races to come. We've got Zandvoort and Monza in the next 2 weeks as well. I'm pumped. I'm excited. Mosport's one of my favourite tracks. It was the first ever track I raced on for a league race. And to have open wheeler action around here, it is going to be pure chaos, and I'm all here for it.
Yeah, good evening, Hamish. Thanks for having me back. This week's going to be much the same as last week we saw at Donington. It's going to be very tight on track during qualifying. There's not going to be much in it between, say, P1 and maybe 20th. I'm expecting less than a second between those positions. But tonight is going to definitely throw up some entertainment.
Well, big news coming out of last week into this round. Phil Vella will be out for the foreseeable future as he has broken his ankle and is unable to drive on the rig. This now opens the championship completely wide open. It's blown the door open on the building that is known as the championship. I believe it was P6 to P2 is separated by 16 points. Hutto, is that correct?
Yeah, it's very, very close. All the following positions. Obviously, Vella's sitting atop on a proud 614. And then we have a run of Byrne, Fay, Gallo and Barton at 567, 566, 552 and 551. Very, very close indeed.
Well, it has completely opened it up for any one of those drivers now to win this championship. Some other news coming to this week, there has been a team change for a driver in the field. Matt Tessuero will now be representing Velocity Racing Team going forward. So the privateer, who's been running around on his own for quite a while, has finally been picked up by a team. We'll see if this will help him finally move up and claim that amateur title that has eluded him for so long in this series. And I'll have to keep an eye on how he's going to do out there this for tonight and for the rest of this season. Velocity Racing Team, they started, I think, last season with 2 or 3 drivers in the field. And now this season, they have 6. And they've picked up 2 drivers from the field this season, and they've brought in an extra one from within their team. So they are growing within this field, and they could be some real challenges for Pro-Am titles in seasons future. But I'm excited, Hutto. This track, it is up there for me, especially as kind of a hidden gem in the world of racing. You often get some fantastic wheel-to-wheel action, but you also get some absolute chaos that can occur around here as well. And I think this track-car combination, we could be on for possibly a smoky for best race of the season. I mean, what are your thoughts on it?
This track is very, very suited to these cars. The sweeping left and right handers on this track and the high downforce of the Super Formula Light. It's a match made in heaven. However, I'm really not a fan of turn 5. That's Moss. That's the double right-hander, up over the top there. And I guess the tow tonight is going to be very, very important. I've talked to the drivers before, and apparently we can make 3 to 4 tenths up on the car in front just on the tow alone. So I guess we can expect a lot of drafting battles and overtakes to take place around this along that straight anyway.
Well, I think, this track, there are a heap of areas drivers are going to have to be careful of. The fast run round turn 2, where we've just seen Scott Pocock spin it out, ended up in the wall. The hard braking zone in at turn 3. You mentioned turn 5, the double right-hander at Moss. Actually, my favourite corner of this track, but a lot of people really do not like it. But there could be some struggles for some drivers there. Then, as you mentioned, down the Andretti straight, up towards the final couple of corners. So it's going to be a short, fast lap, around about 1 minute and 10 seconds at the fastest times. And it is going to be super fast-paced, super intense. What I think may actually catch a couple of drivers out tonight is those breaks in between, you know, being on it for a whole lap and then all of a sudden we're under safety car and they're able just to settle down again, but then having to get back in the mindset of, you know, getting back into it, getting back into that rhythm, getting back into that fast-paced run that you have around this place. Could be a very similar thing to what drivers maybe experience at other smaller, faster-paced tracks in real life, you know, maybe like a Monza, even a Monaco as well. I know that safety cars can often disrupt drivers' mentalities around that track. It could be very similar tonight for Mosport.
Well, I guess well, you just touched on that. It sounds like position is going to be key from qualifying. Like this qualifying session is going to be oh so important for these drivers, because if you're, you know, 2 tenths back from where you should be, that's probably 5-6 places. And in a place where, whilst it will be easy to overtake on that back straight, but you've got to be the one that's having the tow. Don't forget, there's probably another 5 guys behind you lining up ready to go anyway.
Yeah, we may get portions of this race where we get into, you know, drivers being in the train, as that's one of the Velocity Racing Team cars off. I think that might have been Sheafy up at Moss, so already seeing some struggles happening down there. It might have been Jack Anderson, actually. Got a heap of chats out there already joining us here tonight. Jack Oz in the chat, off Ghost Ferguson from practice. Phil Vella out there. Wish we could see you on track tonight, Phil. Dominic Johnston from the Facebook chat saying, love racing these cars. Great to have you here. Brad Hayes, let's go Team Apex. Sean Benici, good evening. Here's for a great race. Cowie chiming into the chat before getting into his race here tonight. Jack was saying as well, Matt is a great driver. We're very lucky to have him. So looking forward to see how he does on debut for that team. And then Ash DeVries also getting out there as well, giving us the old yum-yum. And it's just pointing out that some drivers can't park there when they end up off the track. So there are 2 Velocity teams, Phil. There's Velocity Racing Team and there's Velocity Sim Labs, and no correlation between them at all. Just so happens that they're both called Velocity. As some drivers are starting to get their first laps started now here in qualifying. One of your teammates is off just back there. I think that might have been Mitch Mayenberg. It is just parked up. So he's obviously come out of the pits a little bit too late now. Oh my God, and that's caused an absolute pile up. Who was that went into the back of him? I think it was Cowie that went into him there. Hutto. Oh my God. And that's the problem now. You come out, you get out of sync, and you're just in no man's land.
Absolutely, like we saw just there, like if there's anyone that has to restart their lap or they've had an off, expect to see those guys probably dwindle towards the back. It'd be interesting to see how they do end up. Who have we seen go off already? Was it Sheafy that went off already?
I think it might have been Anderson. Anderson went off earlier.
Yeah. Well, we're starting to see the times just roll in now. And Greg Bradley set a 1:11.11 at the moment. And as we can see, like inside that top 10 is less than half a second, about half a second, less than half a second.
Hang on, I've just seen someone's on their roof, and I think it might be No, it's not Cowie. Who was it? Was it Anderson? No, I don't even know. There was someone on their air intake at Moss, so it's claiming drivers left, right, and centre right now. I don't know. I mean, we've got 39 cars around such a small track tonight. I think it's going to be pure chaos. I don't even think we could predict how many safety cars we're going to get, because it is going to be a struggle for these drivers just to have a clean run at any point. We may only get 5 minutes of clean racing at a time around here in between safety cars. It is going to be ultra chaotic here tonight.
Yeah, it's not exactly what we want to see on a Wednesday evening, but yeah, I think this is going to be the shortest track of the season. Like we said earlier, it's only 1:10. That's 10 seconds less than Donington, and this track does lend itself to some fantastic racing, but with a large field, and we know that turn 1 and turn 2 is quite slippery, especially as the tyres are still coming up to temperature, which will take anywhere between 2 to 3 laps. The opening stages of this race is, it's going to be a busy one for race control, I think.
Well, we can already see a driver parked up between 2 and 3. Actually, probably the smartest place he could have parked up in that first sector, just offline to the right-hand side of track. Drivers have plenty of time to go around you. Daniel Byrne has now gone provisional pole position with a 1:10.702, 1/10 faster than Greg Bradley, returning into the series this week for Andreg alongside Andrew Johnston. I think tonight's race, more so than any other this season, looking at previous races and future races, qualifying is the most imperative thing about tonight, especially for the sprint race. And then I think just remaining in that top 10 is going to be imperative as well, because you do not want to end up in the mid-pack. You do not want to end up at the back of the field, because I think 9 times out of 10, you are going to get caught up in an incident, whether your fault or somebody else's, because it is going to be just a pure struggle to not only make your way around other cars on track, but also just stay out of other cars' way when there are incidents that happen. Car 663, pit lane start impeding during qualifying. I believe that is going to Nick Schmalenberg based off the incident that happened at turn 3.
Yeah, not ideal for Schmal there. He'll be kicking himself, I think, but hopefully he'll get out and just turn a few laps and kind of settle himself for the race.
Well, the times are beginning to come in quick and fast right now. Daniel Byrne sits P3. Dylan DeBono sits top of the timing tower with a 1:10.34 as we see Steph Piccoli spin it round at Moss. Pulls it off the track to get out of the other driver's way. That's a smart play right there. Just tows it back to pits. Andrew Johnson yet to get a time in. Same with David Gallo, who I believe actually has a rear of grid this week. Marcus Knitska out on track yet to set a time. Same with Noble, same with Cowan, Anderson, McCulloch, Katakazinas, and Nick Schmalenberg now has that pit lane start. So he can still set times, of course, Hutto, but he just has to start from pit lane. Being that if he had a rear of grid, well, he just wouldn't be able to set another time in qualifying. He'd have to stay at the back.
Yeah, correct. And it's interesting to see the timing tower just now. And like, there we go. Was it Brooks, Ben Brooks there? He's sitting P6. Matt Tessariero, P9. These are pro-ams and amateurs that are mixing it with the pros. Like tonight, if those guys can stay in that top 10, like at least after qualifying, and just hold positions, there'll be huge points on offer for those two guys tonight.
Yeah, I think if any of the drive, this may be the almost the anchor race to some drivers' championships of if they can do well tonight, avoid the carnage and get a good chunk of points, it is going to pay them massive dividends compared to the upcoming races this season. You know, we look at Zandvoort next week. It's fast-paced, less chaotic. You look at Monza the week after. Fast-paced, probably just as chaotic at this track, but there's more room for error at Monza than there is here. So with the next two tracks being just as fast-paced, one of them's less chaotic, the other one just as chaotic, but with that room for mistake, you could really find that if someone has a poor run this week, it could really actually wreck their momentum going into those next two tracks and possibly even wreck their opportunity at winning a championship. I mean, you look at Dylan DeBono, it was literally one race last season that ruined him having a healthy lead going into the final round, and in the end it cost him by getting caught up in an incident and then not being able to make up the places that he needed to. So it's now getting down nitty and gritty. We're at the halfway point of the season. It's nitty and gritty time. It's time for you to hit those marks, get those 1%ers, and try and maximize on these types of races, because if they can't maximize here, it'll cost them in the long run.
Yeah, absolutely, Hamish. And like we touched on before, how there's only 16 points between P2 and P5. So with Vela being out effectively, or at least for a couple of weeks with that ankle injury, I guess Byrne, Fay, Gallo and Barton will be licking their lips. Like the SFL title is now, the door's been kicked wide open. But I'd also like to point to your attention, and the drivers have access to these numbers with the league standings and whatnot. When the drop round gets taken, who do you think's sitting top after Mr. Vela? Have a guess, Hamish. Who do you think's sitting top?
Out of which names was it, sorry?
Well, I'll read out the top. Out of the top 10, we got Vela, Byrne, Fay, Gallo, Barton, Davis, Roberts, Pocock, and Knitska. Who do you think's sitting like first and second after Vela? So second and third.
Honestly, I think Knitska could be one of them. He's been pretty consistent. I think Barton's had a couple of problematic races. I'd say Daniel Byrne. I'd say Byrne. Byrne and Knitska.
So P2 after countback, so after the drop round, is our Season 2 champion, Mr. Consistent, Dave Roberts, and in P3, his teammate, Marcus Knitska.
Yeah.
So all of a sudden, with Vela being out of the picture, we've now got another 3-horse race, because having Vela back's been fantastic, but he was starting to run away with the competition. And last week, definitely he had to, I guess, put out his elbows and really fight for those positions. But now we'll have a Pace Syndicate, a DFR, and a Carlin's Motorsport, probably a 3-way race. And not to forget, Scotty Barton, he's there with Everything Simulated Racing. He's already taken a victory in pre-season when we were at Red Bull Ring. So I think this championship is wide open now.
I can't believe, even after the amount of words I had to eat when Dave Roberts won the title, I'm still overlooking his name when he's listed at me. I'm still overlooking the fact that he could win a championship, but he could genuinely do it. He has been the Mr. Consistent the last 2 seasons.
Absolutely. And if anything's to go, like last season, that was an amazing race where just the stars aligned. Dave did his thing. He got the points. I think he came P2, or he might have won that one. But I guess, yeah, it's just how the cookie crumbles, and Dave was at the top when it all settled. So yeah, it was an amazing thing to see last season.
I think, you know, that can also then come back to, you know, sometimes if you're in that fight for a championship, maybe instead of pushing to do better than what you previously have, you just stick to what you know. Stick to racing how you've been previously racing, and hope that the cards or the stars will align with how you will end up in the championship. And often I find that, you know, 9 out of 10 times, or 8 out of 10 times, it normally pays off for you just to do what you do best, and that is be consistent, make up those spots that you do every single week. Don't push too hard to try and get up the front, because, I don't know, I think in those high pressure moments, it's better to be comfortable than to be pushing and uncomfortable at the front of the field.
Well, that was the exact situation last year, right? Or last season, right? Like we had, was it Dave Gallo and, please jog my memory. Dylan de Bono were fighting 1 and 2. They're only a couple of points between each other, and there was no pressure on Dave Roberts, just sitting back a few points, and then, yeah, the heavens opened. The other 2 drivers didn't make the points they needed, and there we go. The rest is history.
That's right, and his name got added to the illustrious name board, I guess you say, or history board,
the
or
honour boards.
Board,
yes.
Yeah, the honour boards. Yeah. If we had a trophy room, like a lot of local football clubs or cricket clubs have, his name would be on the wall in gold text on a wooden board. So we have it virtually. We just don't have anywhere that we can put it physically at the moment. But his name has gone down in history within this championship, and it'll forever be there. There's no asterisk next to his name. He won that by doing what he does best, and that's being consistent. And if he were to go back to back, I think the only other back-to-back champion we've had would have been Phil Vella, I think.
Phil Vella, yes.
Yeah.
Back, season 2, season 3 last season?
Yeah.
Or last year, I think.
Yeah, so like that's a pretty illustrious name to be with arguably the most dominant driver in the entire field. There's been a massive blow-up at the final corner. I believe that was Lipsky and Hodgkinson at the final corner here during qualifying. We've only got a couple of minutes to go, so only a couple more opportunities for these drivers to get laps in. Currently it is Dylan de Bono, provisional P1, ahead of Greg Bradley, Daniel Burns, Scotty Barton and Jay Dixon to make up the top 5. Then it's Dave Roberts, Matt Tessierro, Mitch Noble, Andrew Johnston and Marcus Knitska making up the top 10 at the moment. How's that? The top 2 outside of the pros are 2 amateur drivers amongst the top 10, and then just on the bubble is Cowie and Brook, the top 2 in the pro-end. Blows my mind how that can occur, especially around here, but I guess they're in the right place at the right time in trying to set these qualifying laps and getting a good toll for another driver, or just being able to slot into a nice little position in amongst the pack.
Yeah, I wonder if that team change for Tesseriero going from privateer and now joining up with Velocity Racing, I wonder if that's just, you know, shot him up the leaderboard a bit in terms of his race pace. Well, I guess qualifying pace, sorry. I guess the proof will be in the pudding if he can put it together tonight and stay within that top 10. We know Noble's capable of sticking it with the pros. He's very quick driver. He just needs that bit of refinement so he can start locking out these wins for the AM class.
I think both him and Matt are in a very similar boat. Like, they both have some fantastic pace, and they've gotten faster and faster every single season. They still just struggle with a little bit of possibly unluckiness a couple of times in the season, or maybe even just struggle with a little bit of racecraft now and again. But they are getting better. They are constantly improving week in and week out, and they are looking more and more like pro-ams the more rounds we go on. So I think these guys, no matter if either of them were to win the championship and the other one were to finish second, you can make an argument that both could go up at the end of the season just based on how they've been performing. Because, you know, say Tessierro gets promoted and Noble doesn't, well, then we look at next season. If Noble starts to absolutely demolish the rest of the amateur field, you then make the argument, well, should he have gone up with Matt? Because they're on a pretty level playing field at the moment in terms of their pace and their racecraft and how they're improving week in and week out.
Yeah, you're absolutely right there, Hamish. And like, we won't, I guess, hastily just put someone up just because they start winning one or two here and there. But you're right. These guys have improved, and I'll say the entire field has improved. And it's actually a good thing to have as an admin, as to try and split hairs as to who's a pro-am, who's a pro. Because now we're really looking at, 40 drivers where we're having to go, are they pro-am, and or could they be possibly, still in the am class? But I guess, let's wait and see what tonight holds, and let's watch the action.
Well, let's see how they line up after going through qualifying. Dylan De Bono will start in pole position for Velocity SimLab, ahead of a returning Greg Bradley from Andreg in P2. Daniel Byrne and Scott Barton will make up the second row of the grid, ahead of Jay Dixon and Dave Roberts on the third. Scott Pocock will then start P7, ahead of pole position for the amateurs, and P8 on the road, Matt Tessiero from Velocity Racing Team. Darren Fahey will then start in behind with Mitch Noble, who's P2 in the amateurs here in qualifying. He'll start at a P10, ahead of Andrew Johnston and Marcus Knitska just in behind. We then move back to P13 and P14. We have P1 and 2 for the Pro-Ams of Andrew Cow and Benjamin Brook. They'll start ahead of P3 in the Pro-Ams. P15 on the road, Tyler Sheaf with Thomas Donahoe alongside Callan Hodgson and Callum Rossanita. They line up alongside each other once again, and when they've normally done that, they both end up making their way up the field. So we'll have to keep an eye on them tonight, because they actually have quite a bit of history in starting alongside and just moving on up in towards the top 10. So they could be ones to keep an eye on. Matt Gerard, Jason Depp will then start in behind them with Doug Gowans and Dean Singovich on the 11th row with Sam Katakazinos and Nathan Verney in P23 and P24. We then move back to Andrew Johnston returning into the series alongside Sean Benici, Jack Anderson, Jordan Ferguson, teammates from Velocity Racing Team. They'll line up alongside each other ahead of Jason Douglas and Timothy Schmalenberg to make up the top 30. Kevin Wakefield and Josh King will then line up in behind ahead of Gordon McCulloch, Martin Lipsky, Johnny Rowe, Stephanie Piccoli, and then David Gallo, Jamie Davis, Nick Schmalenberg will start at the back end of the field with rear of grids and pit lane starts towards their names at the moment. But it's a big grid. It's going to be a big night of racing, Hutto. I am excited. Oh, this is going to be chaotic at the front of the field, I think. Possibly even in the mid-packet at the rear. Oh, it's heart in your mouth stuff, really. Just waiting for this to happen and waiting for that fuse to get to the spike point, and it just blows up in our face.
Yeah, look, if last week there was anything to go off, there's going to be another tight round this week, and I guess another one to watch tonight will be David Gallo starting from P37. Let's see how he can hopefully charge up the board and claw back some points.
Also, Jamie Davis as well. We need to keep an eye on him, on how he goes getting from the back of the field up towards the front end of the field. It's sprint round action, of course, 20-minute heat race. Then we reverse the top 10 and we go racing for 40 minutes in the feature, same as we did last night for the supercars at Fuji. So it is going to be fast-paced action for Mosport. Being that it is a sprint round, it should somewhat limit the amount of safety cars we get, because the race controls are very time sensitive on how long we have left in a race, and we want to try and at least get some racing going, especially in the 20-minute heat race. They have extended the pre-race timer though once again, as Tyson is giving his pre-race spiel. I'm looking forward to this, Hutto. I think this race could be on for something special tonight, and we could be on for, you know what, another first-time winner. I'm going to claim it. We're going to have another first-time winner tonight.
I was just thinking that in the pre-race brief that I was running through. I was like, we've had 30 race winners. There's a few names in there that haven't won before, and look, we've had several winners here. We've raced 4 times here before with only 3 different winners, and I think you're bang on, Hamish. We are going to have a new race winner tonight.
And you know what? I think it's going to be Greg Bradley, who I don't think's ever taken a win, if I'm correct.
No, he has. The only two... Okay. Oh, who did I have down? Pocock and Brook. I know Brook's down a little way, but yeah, Scotty Pocock hasn't taken the checkered flag just yet, so we'll see what happens.
Oh, maybe Scotty Pocock. He could be on for something special. Maybe we get maybe we get a winner for the first time outside of Pro Class. Maybe that's what it is. All will be answered, though, for us off the start of this race. Lights are up. Let's go racing for the 20-minute heat at Mosport. We are away. Barney's waving the green flag as we make our way through turn 1 for the first time, and Dylan De Bono leads them round Need to be cautious and careful. Look out for any incidents that happen in the background at this point of the race, down through the fast-paced run through turn 2 on the downhill. It's like a roller coaster ride when you're getting through here at maximum speeds and up towards turn 3. And it looks like, I don't want to speak too soon, Hutto, it looks like we've had a relatively clean start to this race. I am very impressed.
Hold your breath, Hamish. Hold your breath.
I'm holding my breath because there's 2 cars up in the background. Jack Anderson is off into the wall. I believe Rushworth has dropped a couple of spots. So did Jordan Ferguson. So we have already claimed a couple of victims here early on in this race as they try to shift their way around Moss Corner and down the fast-paced Andretti Straight as Dylan De Bono leads.
Again, so that's good news.
Yep.
He's just missing a front wing.
Yeah, he'll have to come in and get that car fixed, unfortunately. So a safety car may bring him back into contention. He's over the radio, so he has called something in. We'll see if anything comes of it as we come round the final corner, and we're already starting lap number 2. So this is going to be incredibly fast-paced. I think we're going to get like 15 laps out of race 1, which is absolutely absurd. There's been a stack at the final corner. Verney's gone into the wall with Jason Douglas. I think Cowie's also been involved as well. That's big contact. And this, I think, should be our first safety car of the night, Hutto, because that little Tron car of Nathan Verney is not going anywhere.
Nah, the back wheel's ripped off there. We're just waiting for the race call, really. It's inevitable.
As De Bono still leads to Byrne. Barbers is over the radio. Has he called up that safety car? I think he has. I believe McCartan has jumped into the car.
Safety car has been called.
There we go. The confirmation that we were waiting for. So we can see all the cars bunching up through the back portion of the pack. We'll quickly run through some of the incidents that have occurred whilst we keep an eye on the live feed on the bottom corner. So first we had this off track from Jordan Ferguson. You see him down towards turn 3. I think he just ran it a little bit wide. Yeah, he did. Ended up in the grass. Ooh, big old wiggle off that as well. And then his teammate there, you can see him in the wall just after, off the exit before turn 4. So he had Verney on his outside. Oh, it was another one of those ones where the front wings clipped that back wheel, Hutto, and forced the car into the wall, unfortunately. We hate to see that. And then Cowie as well had an off track at the back end of the straight. So I think he's possibly, yeah, he's just running a bit wide. And this was the big one at the final corner. A massive moment between Douglas and Verney. Let's have it. Oh, interlocked wheels. You hate to see it, Hutto. You really do. Especially so early on. Jace was putting in big amounts of practice. And just unfortunately, he's been caught out there by Verney off the back of that.
And like you said, we never want to see it, but safety cars were inevitable around this place. I was honestly expecting someone to skid off at P2 there. Oh, sorry, turn 2. That sweeping left-hander. It's normally death or glass on especially in the really opening laps. But I guess the drivers have to keep in mind now, like they've only done 1 or 2 laps, and the safety car now under safety car. The tyres aren't going to be as up to temp as they'd hoped, so they're probably still going to have to be tiptoeing around the track just for another lap or 2 before they can really get stuck into it.
Yeah, it's going to be real dicey for the next portion of this race now, because if we get the old onus of safety cars breed safety cars, then the tyres are never going to get up to temp, and they're going to get into the final portion ready to push onto the checkered flag. We may just get more and more massive accidents occurring throughout this race. Nathan Verney, Jace Douglas have not returned to track just yet after towing back to pit, so we'll see when they do. David Gallo never got going in this race, so unfortunately he is out of this one. That does mean, though, every single name on the timing tower is every single car left out on track, so we are at least accurate with 36 cars out there.
And just looking at the timing tower now, who are our biggest movers and shakers so far? I think Jamie Davis has profited very well. He's up 11 spots to P27. Who else we got? Nick Schmalenberg up 7.
Johnny Rose up 6. McCulloch's up 5 as well. Tim Schmalenberg's up 5. Wakefield's up 5. Depp's up 5.
Not many changes in the top 10 though.
No, which I think we kind of assumed would happen, Hutto.
Expected that, yes.
Yeah, because it's normally mid-pack to rear end of field where you get a lot of the incidents happening, cars running wide or ending up on the wall. And that's where a lot of these guys have gained from that. I mean, Davis, he's normally one to gain big off the back of the field. He does it in the supercars quite often. He's doing it again here tonight in the open wheelers. Realistically, he only has 17 more positions to gain, and he has pole position for race 2. So, you know, it seems like a lot that he has to make up. But if there's a big stack in front of him, he could get a big chunk of, 5 to even 10 cars in the span of a couple of laps if he's able to avoid the carnage and just aim for the smoke and just try and make his way through as cleanly as possible.
And like we've said time and time again, like if you can just stay out of trouble, you'll just be hoping for just that tonight.
I lied. David Gallo has been in this race. He's been in the pits. So he's done 2 laps. So apparently he's had a moment as well. And has ended up in the pit lane.
Yeah, looks of things.
So yes, so he's had an off track actually. Let's have a quick look. So he had an off track. Oh,
self-spinning.
Yep. Before Moss, very lucky not to get collected by Kevin Wakefield.
Good job by those drivers not to collect him.
Yeah, they did incredibly well. Safety car has pulled away though, so we will get ready to go racing once again. We barely even lasted a lap of this race under green. We'll see how long they last this time by. We are already though a quarter of the way through this race. That's probably cut down the amount of laps we're doing in this one by, I'd say 2 laps, Hutto, maybe? I think we've probably lost 1 or 2.
Yeah, what are we, 6 minutes now? What's that, 13 minutes remaining. We'll probably still get another 11 laps, perhaps.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, it's probably 1 or 2 laps we've lost thanks to the safety car. If we get any more, it's going to be substantial, and we'll be challenging Bathurst for most safety cars in a race, which was absolutely ridiculous, but Dylan DeBono's going to lead them around the final corner. He will get them away. He goes nice and early to give them plenty of time to get up to speed and to get themselves back into their rhythms as we come through turn 1 once again. Take no notice of those lap times as Daniel Byrne has spun it round at turn 1, and the cold tyres are already catching out some of the front runners. I'm trying to get a hold of his name. There he is, as Sinker comes past him as well. So, and that car is broken. He's off track, so they may not call the safety car, Hutto, but we mentioned it. Cold tyres has already caught one of them out, and it's one of the more experienced drivers in the field. You absolutely hate to see it. He's one of the favourites tonight.
Yeah, I guess Byrne will be ruining that, and he'll have it all to do a lot of work in race 2. But right now, let's press on with what we've got in front of us.
He has been given the permission to tow, so no safety car off the back of that. Smart decision by race control. I think he was off the track. He was near a driveway, near the sand pit, so it's easy to get him going again. Let us get into a nice little racing rhythm. We don't want to be stop and start the whole time, because otherwise there'll be no race to watch, and we'll just be sitting here. I mean, Dylan DeBono would love it, because he'll never have to give up any positions if he's stuck behind the safety car the whole time, but we want to see a good battle on our hands as they come across the line to start lap 6. These are the current gaps throughout the field. DeBono has already started to build out a 1.1 second gap over Scotty Barton. He's got Greg Bradley in behind him, as well as Jay Dixon. So those guys having a tasty little battle as they come round through turn 2. It has been absolutely gorgeous so far from these guys. You've got Mitch Noble on board in the bottom corner as well, so we can get multiple angles of some of these battles happening around this track. Oh, but that's Jason Depp. I believe he's had an off track down at turn 2, and he has, and he's on the grass. Again, though, I think he's far enough off, Hutto, that we won't get a safety car.
Yeah, we want to see the race continue. Like, these guys are just starting to branch out, space out a little bit. And we've got a few trains starting to develop as we see, I guess, the front runners in the top 10 move up that back straight.
Yeah, they're really starting to push their way through. Here's Mitch Noble. We've got multiple angles happening of his car at the moment. He's on the back of Matt Tessiero as they come up.
So Johnson making a move?
Where is Johnson?
He's just 2 behind.
He is indeed.
He didn't quite get it done, but I'm just on board with him now. There's a train of, what, 1, 2, 3, 7 cars in front of him, then a little gap probably back to Jake Dixon. No, if we go to the top 3, the front runners. Oh, I love this track, Hamish. I love it.
It's so good. It is so, so good. Fast-paced. You're on it literally absolutely everywhere. The only room for a reprieve you have is down the Andretti straight, and even then, you're holding your breath, hoping that someone's not going to dive you at the next corner, as Roberts is trying to get a move done now. Oh, sorry, Pocock's trying to get a move done on Roberts here, up towards Moss corner. He just had the back end. Look at how close they are getting into this corner.
Up the inside, Knitska.
It is getting spicy in amongst the back end of the top 10, and if any of these guys come together, they will absolutely be kicking themselves, Hutto, because they do not want to drop out of this top 10 and lose some crucial points, but also lose the opportunity to actually start higher in the field in the next race.
Oh, how good's this? The toe up that back straight as Noble has a look at Knitska now on just the inset.
Just wasn't able to get it done that time by.
I think it's still quite hard to pass. Like, whilst the toe is very, very powerful up the straight, mind you, whilst they're sitting on a train, you know, you're getting off a toe off the guy in front, so on and so forth. It must be quite hard to keep that pace around the outside at, was it turn 6 or turn 7 there?
Yeah, it was. I just saw Matt Gerard. He carried a little bit too much speed through the final corner. Ends up traversing off the track. Just took a little scrape of the wall, but he's kept going at the moment. Cowie's done well. He's only dropped 2 spots in this race, but he has kept it clean for the majority. Just trying to keep his car in a stones. Tyler Sheaf is up a couple of positions. He's now P2 on the road for the Pro-Ams. He's chasing down Callan Hodgkinson, who is P1 in class, but up 5 positions in this race. So he's actually one of the biggest movers in this one. As he tries to make his way throughout this field. A bit further back, Jamie Davis has now claimed his 15th position gain in this race at the moment, Hutto. He is swiftly moving up to the back end of the top 10. Schmalenberg's managed to find 10 positions, that being Nick at the back end. He's in P29 at the moment as well. So some good movers out there. Biggest shaker though, unfortunately, is Daniel Byrne. He is down 33 positions and a P36 on the road. So he's quite out of contention for this race, but hopefully he can come back in race 2.
Yeah,
oh my God! Sorry to cut you off, Hutto. There's been an absolutely massive stack at the final corner with Andrew Cowan. I believe that's Sean Bonici has also been involved.
Unfortunately, I think that might drag a safety car. 2 cars on one car on track.
I think it will. I think we are almost certain. He's inside of Rosanita. Oh, a little bit of net code. And, of course, Cow would be the one to hit that tyre barrier.
Oh.
That is
there we go, safety car's called.
Yep, I'm not surprised whatsoever off the back of that. That was diabolical.
That's unfortunate for Cowie there. He's just tagged the back of, I think it was Rosanita there.
Yeah.
And just come across a smack in the tyres, and Bonici, he wouldn't have seen it coming, to be honest.
He had nowhere to go.
He just would have turned the corner. Exactly.
Yeah, and he's
like
just
in the middle
there.
of the track, there's a car facing you. What do you do?
Well, he's come round, Hutto, and he's bouncing off the tyre barrier as you're coming around the corner. It's like, well, fingers crossed you don't hit him. And you've got really nothing to do in that moment apart from hope and pray. And unfortunately, he didn't pray hard enough and he hit the back end of Cowie's car. It's unfortunate. I know Cowie's been working hard to do well in this car, and it's a bit of a shame to just be caught out by one of those little minor net codes that can occur with these things. But, well, the best thing we can say is at least there was only 2 cars involved. At least it wasn't more than that and taking out half the field.
Absolutely. Like, that's a very dangerous spot there, that final corner. Like, it's so blind, and I guess if all the cars are sitting in trains, it's going to be like you're concentrating on the car in front and just trying to hit your apexes. If there's another distraction that the drivers have to cope with, like, yeah, Bonici didn't stand a chance, I don't think.
Well, not just another car or as a distraction, just something that's in the way of you being able to hit your marks. That is, they're some of the most important fundamentals of racing these cars is being able to hit your marks, being able to know where you got to brake, where you got to aim the car. And if there's a car where you normally aim it, you got to try and change your plan on the fly, and that can often then lead to you making a mistake or lead to you losing your mindset a little bit. And that's sometimes one of the biggest things, especially in these cars, is just controlling that mindset, keeping yourself in check, and just trying to drive as clean as possible.
Yeah, and like you said, sort of in any car, if you're, I guess, task focused on the car in front of you, you miss your braking, or essentially the guys will be missing their braking points. If they're like in a tow, they're carrying extra speed, they're looking for their braking marker. If they miss that, they're almost certain to kind of, unfortunately, make contact with the car in front. I don't think we've seen it just quite yet. It seems to be like a few little tags and spins that have caused incidents so far, but yeah, I guess we never want to see any crashes. I'd rather see racing, but yeah, fingers crossed we get underway quick smart.
I think we will be. The safety car has pulled into pit lane. We have got 5 minutes to go, so we will not have another safety car, at least in race 1. We deliberately did not make safety car predictions in this one because we knew there would be many and we didn't want to have to try and claim any glory over that. We just want to try and get some clean racing around here at Mosport. De Bono has gone on the apex of the final corner, and we are heading into the crescendo of race number 1 as Scotty Barton is trying to fend off Greg Bradley. Was also trying to chase down Dylan De Bono in front of him as well. As they come up towards turn 2, you can see Dixon all over the back of Bradley right now, putting major pressure on him down the hill. Josh King's gone round in the background, I believe, at turn 1. He's into the wall. He is still rolling though, Hutto, so luckily for him, he won't need the tow back to bits, hopefully, but that will put him right at the back of the field for the start of the next race. As they come up through Moss this time by. Actually surprised there hasn't been that many incidents at Moss in this race.
Moss, yeah. Just not, yeah. Well, I guess that's where I anticipate there to be a spinner. As you're taking that second right-hand corner, or if you just carry a bit too much speed and you get out in the weeds there on the left-hand side, it's very, very easy to do, especially in these cars, unless they get unsettled. But the guys and girls are doing a fantastic job tonight and keeping it, pointing forwards at times.
I think unfortunately Matt Tessero has actually clocked himself a slowdown through Moss. He dropped a heap of spots off the exit of that corner. He's now dropped all the way back to P3 in the amateur class. Mitch Noble now sits P1 in that class, P10 on the road at the moment, so he actually sits provisional pole for race 2. In fact, he started on pole last week at Donington Park for race 2 after finishing P10 on the road, so he could go back to back, but he has got a fast-paced Callan Hodgkinson hunting down that position right now, breathing down his neck and putting maximum pressure on him for the next 2.5 minutes just about of this race, as Ross Anita is now dropping some spots as well, so he's had to give up position out of Dougie Gowans, who took quite a miraculous win last week, Hutto, and could not have happened to a nicer guy.
Dougie, he's been around for a long time with us at SRW, and to take, I think it was his 4th win last week. He'll take him when he can, because he's not always on the top step. He's thereabouts. Regularly gets a top 10 or a top 5. But yeah, it was fantastic to see Doug up top once again.
Well, you can see at the moment, Scotty Barton, Greg Bradley, their battle is continuing on. We've got Callan Hodgkinson in the bottom corner for you, trying to chase down P10 in Andrew Johnston up ahead of him.
So Noble's made a pass on Andrew Johnston. Yeah, that's fantastic for the AMs, like mixing with pros and now starting to pass them. I'll tell you what, Noble, if he keeps these sort of performances up, he will go very, very well in the AM Championship.
Oh, he will, and he will. If he doesn't win it, he will be making solid claims that he could be promoted alongside whoever the champion is. I mean, he's having.
And that's what you want. You want to be further up the field, right? You want to be in a higher class, competing and rubbing shoulders with the guys ahead. Everyone wants to improve, and I think we're seeing that throughout the field. Like Noble, also there's several guys in the AM as well that they might have had the pace but no consistency, or they've just not the quickest guys out on track, and they are just improving tenfold week in, week out. It's like Hamish, I love it.
I love it too. It's so good. We're able to pick apart week in and week out who's improving, who maybe didn't have such a good week as what they previously had as well, and possibly where they can improve upon too. We try and make our own little tip of the cap expert opinions throughout the racing. As we heard a question from Kyle Gretsch, where is King Ando? He's currently P19 on the road in an intense battle here with Andrew Rushworth and Timothy Schmalenberg as they battle it out for Pro-Am proceedings. They're all battling it out for a Pro-Am podium here in race number 1. I've completely missed the checker flag flying here, I believe. No, it's white flag, that's fine. Oh, that scared me for a second there. I thought we missed the checkered. No, we didn't. Thanks, Adrian. Thank you so much. The trick was turn down particles. That was what was causing some issues last week. So we've had no problems this week with people having off tracks. It does help that we have less than 40 cars on track. So the real test will likely be next week at Zandvoort, when we will probably have more than 40 cars. But it is.
Oh, who's that going to start the back straight? Oh, Darren Fraser's gone wide. He's going to lose a bunch of time. He's just close to Andrew Johnson.
You hate to see it. Absolutely hate to see it.
As Callan Hodgkinson has a run on Noble for P10. He's trying to stick it around the outside.
Well, quickly, Hutto, as we come up through the final corner, Dylan De Bono is going to come round. He's led every single lap of this race, and he's going to lead it at the right time. Across the line comes the Velocity Sim Labs driver. He takes himself another victory here in the heat race. Noble has just outlasted Hodgkinson to P10 in the background. Barton and Bradley make up the podium. Dixon, Pocock, the top 5. Roberts, Kanitska, Johnston, Fahey, the top 9. Mitch Noble will then start pole position of the next race, and 2 weeks in a row has won the amateur class and will start pole position in the second race of the sprint round.
Like I said, Noble, he's starting to pop his head up. He's starting to, get those points. He's putting down good laps, and we're starting to see the consistency. He's definitely good. Well, he's one of the front runners for the AM class, and it's great. It's great to see.
He has been improving week in and week out, and we love to see that. Of course, he struggled earlier this year when he first hopped into iRacing and into these different car types, but he has been sticking to them like glue, and he is rapidly improving across a lot of different car makes and a lot of different car types as well. Hutto as well. Kyle asking what happened to Sheafy in that race. Tumble quickly. He had an off track at Moss towards the end of the race and just was unable to get it back on track quickly enough and dropped quite a few spots through the portion of that corner. He was trying not to get an incorrect rejoin. So warm-up session is now live though, Hutto. We will likely get a couple of cars out on track getting a little bit of practice in, but race 1, that was chaotic, wasn't it? About as chaotic as we predicted.
Well, I guess we'll have to take a breath. Well, I guess the safety car helps us with those ones, but I'm expecting much of the same. Hopefully it's not too disjointed. I'd like to see I think we'd all like to see 0 safety cars this race, but I think it's just inevitable. We're going to have to catch one.
Well, I think, yeah, I agree with you. I think it's inevitable for another one. Do we have multiple in this race? You could definitely make the argument.
It's 40 minutes. Like, there's plenty of time for 2 safety cars.
Yeah.
Like, we never want to see 2 safety cars inside a 20-minute race. Like we just saw, it really condenses the race, and like we highlighted during qualifying, how important qualifying had to be. So a 40-minute race does give the opportunity for the race to lend itself to more racing as such. But yeah, I want to see it flow, but hopefully it's just the one safety car.
I think, the fact that we got 2 in 20 minutes is giving us a little bit of an insight into what we could get for race 2. I mean, I think, 2 in 20 minutes is too much. 3 in 40 minutes is arguably too much as well. You're averaging a safety car every 15 minutes just about, and that is getting one on lap 1. It's a struggle. I mean, getting that perfect balance of chaos and controversy with quality racing, it's tough, especially at a track like this. Next week we may have the perfect balance being Zandvoort, but it's just great to be back at this track, Hutto. I absolutely love it, and I hope everyone else out there loves it too. It is a real hidden gem in the world of motorsport and has created phenomenal racing for many years on the iRacing service, not only in SRW but in other racing leagues as well. And it is always one that whenever it pops up, I'm like, oh, that's going to be a good race. I think we could be on for something special. So if you guys haven't already, though, whilst we wait for the race 2 to start, whilst we're halfway through this warm-up session, be sure to hit the like button, the subscribe, and the bell icon as well, so you're notified whenever we go racing here on SRWtv. We've got a massive rest of the round to come up here for week 5 of the SRW season. We, of course, have tomorrow night's GR86 Nationals brought to you by Shannon's Insurance. They will be racing out at Zandvoort, so a little bit of a preview for the track we'll be racing at next week. Friday for the Legends World Challenge will be out at Zolder, and the GTDs will be at Imola as well. And Sunday night we'll be back at Fuji for more supercars action. So there's so much action to come your way this week from SRW. You do not want to miss any of it. It'll be all through sight and sound here on SRW TV, on YouTube, and on Facebook as well. So we'll try and get every single angle that we can, every bit of insight that we can give, we will try and give to you. And yeah, this is the place to be if you want to see some absolutely phenomenal sim racing action within Australia. Of course, I do have to talk about end of the season, Australian Open Wheel Championships, SRW versus GSRC. I mean, what a race that could be. Have we heard anything about what track could be chosen, though, for that race?
I do believe it's still under wraps. I am aware of a few potential candidates, but it's one of the, I'll say, favourites for everyone. It's quite an iconic circuit. I'm definitely looking forward to the end of season, and I guess one thing that we keep our eye on up here, Hamish, is who's on the bubble, who's inside the top 20, who's made it, who's going to miss out. And as it stands, what we in the bubble we have.
Well, that's we had on
in
our
P18
list.
we got P18 is Nathan Verney, and then so the top. Sorry, 18th place Verney, 19th is Rosanita, 20th is Katakazinos. So at the moment, if for some reason we stopped at the count for whatever reason, those guys would make it. And then we have, I think, Matty Tesoriero, Timothy Schmalenberg, and Tom Donahoe in P21, 22, 23. And I guess as the season progresses, Hamish, it's going to be very, very tight, because some of these names we're starting to see that maybe they've missed a round, or they haven't quite got the performances, and they're not where we would expect them to be if they'd be further up the field. But now it's something to aim for the drivers for the end of season. I know one driver in particular, Tyler Sheaf, his goal was make top 20. He has to make the top 20. And you look at his results that have been in the last couple of weeks, he's mixing it. He's not just, mid-pack and lower, lower rungs there in the field. He's mixing it with pro-ams and touching on pro times as well. So I guess, there's a reward for the guys who not only, come first, second and third, but there's something on offer for the rest of the drivers as well.
Well, we talk about on the bubble. Last week on the bubble was Mitch Noble and Callan Hodgkinson, and they've managed to find themselves a good chunk of points these last couple of weeks. And they're starting to build themselves back up and really becoming a mainstay in that top 20 for the championship, Hutto. If Noble continues having performances like this, he could, he could even challenge for top 10. I mean, if he keeps being consistent...
It's not out of the question, absolutely.
Keeps being consistent, getting top 10 finishes, he could very well be inside the top 10 at the end of the championship and be the 10th seeded driver in SRW for Super Formula Lights as an amateur. That would be absolutely insane for that to happen. But what a story it would be off the back of some of the challenges that he has faced since joining SRW and joining iRacing. You love to see it when those sorts of storylines start to occur. But starting grid for this race, it'll be as they finished in the last one, but the top 10 has been reversed. Mitch Noble will start ahead of Darren Fahey, Andrew Johnston and Marcus Knitska in behind. Dave Roberts, Scott Pocock make up the third row of the grid, with Jay Dixon and Greg Bradley in behind them. Scotty Barton and Dylan DeBono then make up the top 10. It'll then be Callan Hodgkinson and Thomas Donahoe ahead of Doug Gowans and Callum Rosanita. Matt Gerard and Jamie Davis in behind them, with Timothy Schmalenberg and Andrew Rushworth starting on the 9th row, with Jack Anderson and Tyler Sheaf making up the top 20. Gordon McCulloch, Sam Katakazinos will start ahead of Nick Schmalenberg and Johnny Rowe in behind them. Johnny Rowe had a great gain in that first race. Ben Brook, Matt Tessiero will start in behind, with Dean Singovich, Martin Lipsky, Stephanie Piccoli and David Gallo making up the top 30. Ahead of Nathan Verney, Daniel Byrne, Kevin Wakefield, Josh King, Andrew Cowan and Jason Depp, as well as Jordan Ferguson and Sean Benici, as well as Jace Douglas at the back end of the field. And unfortunately for Jason, he has taken the unlucky stat of actually doing less laps in that race than the safety car did. So, Hutto, I'm going to put you on the block just quickly. When is the first safety car going to happen in this race?
Lap 1. Let's do it. Lap 1.
Okay.
Another one for you.
Yeah.
Jamie Davis, top 10. Yes or no?
Oh, I think so. I think 40 minutes.
P16.
Yeah, 40 minutes. He's got some good pace. He'll make up those. If he can stay out of trouble.
Well, we put the knocker on him now. He has to deliver.
He has to. He just has to. 30 seconds until the start line procedure gets made. There's been a pit lane start applied to one of the drivers in the field. I'm not 100% sure who it was, unfortunately.
Yeah, I did miss that call.
Yeah.
I can't say Hodgkinson on track just yet. So
maybe it's Hodgkinson. No, he's on track.
He's just joined.
Maybe it's Jace Douglas. Maybe he towed without permission last race. Quite possibly.
Bugger.
But lights are going to go up. We're going to go racing for the feature here tonight. Let's see who's going to get the run down towards turn 1. Noble and Fahey on the front row. Johnson and Knitska lurking in behind, with the effervescent Dave Roberts following them through as they get off the line nice and clean down through turn 1. We managed to make it through here nice and clean last race, Hutto. We'll see if they do the same this time by. Looks like they have, as they come up round through turn 2. The fast-paced roller coaster once again, as Noble has absolutely bottled it at the start, right at the front of the field. He spun it round And unfortunately, my heart breaks for him. He's ended up in the wall, and he's going to end up at the back of the field.
But him requesting a tow just now, right? It's like you said, it's heartbreaking, but look, it's racing. The guy's going to keep going on. It was good that he did still keep moving, but I think he's just requested a tow.
And he has been given the permission
well,
to
tow.
Tumbling. Oh, he is too. What has happened at Moss? He's run. Oh, he's had big contact there. Ooh. So is Sam Catacasinos. What has occurred down at Moss Corner between some of these drivers? So up in the NeuroPower blimp, we can see De Bono there. He's in behind his teammate, I believe. Oh, no, that was Scotty Barton. He was on the inside of it. This gets collected by Jamie Davis through there. Schmalenberg had a spin as well. Fahey.
Hey, his front corner.
Yep. He's currently dropping spots. It's massive damage. De Bono's into the lane. Where is Fahey? Oh, why is it now that we start getting all of these? Why are we getting blinks now? Why? We managed to last all of race one. Oh, that's going to be an improper entry into pit lane, so that's unfortunately going to be a penalty for Fahey, I think.
Yeah, I think there was a bit of contact. So I was on board with Marcus Knitska whilst you're showing the replays, and it was Knitska and Fahey going all the way up the back straight and around those final couple of corners. I think I heard a little bit of contact between the two drivers, but I guess we'll let race control unpack that one.
We'll see what they feel about it. This was the moment between them leading up towards the final corner. So there you can see it was Jamie Davis. Oh, he'd been spun round with Knitska. Oh, sorry, no, that's not avoidance. No, that was Dixon. Sorry, that was Dixon avoiding Fahey. So that was why he went off the track.
Good avoidance by Dixon there.
So here's Fahey. There's Knitska. Oh, big knock. Yeah, I don't know about that one. Race control will have plenty of things to say, I am sure. But Knitska now leads the way. The question is, how long will he lead for? As we start lap number 3, he's got Dixon slowly lurking in the background with Greg Bradley in behind him as well. Though if these two start to tangle, Hutto, then Knitska may start to run away with this thing if we don't get any safety cars.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. And as I'm just watching back to, was it P4, 5 and 6 there, nothing splitting these guys. As we see Andrew Johnson just go a little bit wide and drop down a place. But yeah, you're right. The more the drivers battle out there, the more the gaps are going to open up for other drivers or allow others to catch back up. And hopefully this race lends itself to 0 safety cars, as my prediction was not right.
Yeah, I think sometimes we hope to not be correct on the safety car call. We want to get some good wheel-to-wheel racing and get some great action for you on screen. And it's not that fun when we have safety cars galore happening. Oh, my God. Scotty Barton.
Heart and mouth moment. He would have been going, probably 240 up that back straight when he was on the grass?
Yeah, I think the groundskeeper may have just missed a couple of weeds. He was picking them up for him. That was what it was.
Yeah, good man.
Yeah, as they start lap number 4 here, Knitska still leads. Bradley has now dispatched to Jay Dixon and looks to chase down the Pace Syndicate driver at the front of the field. Scotty Barton, who you're on board with, continues on in behind them. Roberts is in behind, as well as Pocock. Ross Anita's had a great race so far. He's up 7 and into P1 for the amateurs in amongst the top 10. Ben Brook is up 13 positions in this race. Daniel Byrne is up 16 and on the cusp of the top 10 at the moment. He's in P16 at this stage. Sinkovic is up 10, Gallo's up 11, Depp is up 15, Cowan's up 12, Bonici's up 13, and Ferguson is up 10 a little bit further back as well. And Douglas, starting at the back of the field, is up 9. So those guys have all had a great start to this race. We'll see if they're able to make up any more spots in this one and just keep it clean for the next 35 minutes of running.
Starting to see a few battles emerge between the drivers, seeing those interval times really squeeze down under 1/10. They're the ones to watch. And surprisingly, I'd just like to point out, Nick Schmalenberg's up P15. He's second for the amateurs. He started in the pit lane in race 1, so he's done a fantastic job to just keep it clean and just move his way up the field whilst everyone else seems to want to turn themselves around.
Is it because he's your teammate that we're shouting him out, Hutto?
No, it just caught my eye, to be honest. But as we see another spinner, who was that?
That's David
backwards?
Gallo.
David Gallo.
Oh, so he's nice.
What's going on with the front runners tonight?
Oh, my God. Maybe he just doesn't like Mosport very much. He's parked in a very awkward position, so he cannot get that back in.
Who's that? Jason
Depp.
Depp just spins around.
Yep. Oh, my God, that's massive. Oh, what has happened there? Andrew Rushworth has got massive damage on that Team Apex car. I think this will almost undoubtedly be a safety car here, Hutto. And as there has been a huge stack at the front of the field, or in the mid-pack of the field, sorry. We'll get some replays happening for you. That was huge. What has happened?
Safety car has been called.
Oh, knew it. So this is what happened with David Gallo down at the final corner. So he's making his way through. He had, I believe it was Barton. No, it was Katakazinos. It was Sam. Oh my God. So another one of those, just that little bit of netcode on the side of the wheel. And has absolutely launched his car into the wall, as we've got Bradley and Dixon into pit lane now as well. And
this was interesting with the pit strat, because I think a pit or a fuel tank's going to last about 25 minutes. So I'm going to have a guess and say these guys are gambling that there's going to be another safety car this race.
So let's also check out what's happened with Rushworth and Tessierero. So they had an off track earlier in the lap down at turn 1. Oh my God! Okay, so that's what happened. That was at turn 1. Wow. That was absolutely massive for Andrew Rushworth. Not the first time we've seen a car absolutely just tumble over Hutto this season. We've seen plenty of them. Yeah, we can see from Gallo's cockpit, 100%. Let me just set it up. Let's find Mr. Gallo's moment. Here it is. So this is what happened to David Gallo. So there you can see Sam on the outside line. He's alongside... Oh, it almost looks like Sam's cut across on him from the cockpit view.
Yeah, it's tight to see from that angle. Well, it's definitely hard to see out of that cockpit, but like again, we'll leave it up to race control to unpack it, do their thing.
Yeah, remembering as well, like we've set up some of these angles to be what it would be like in real world racing. So his cockpit likely is completely different to how I have it set up as well, Hutto. Like he would likely have it set up so he can actually see over the top of the steering wheel.
Well, they probably have that halo turned off as well.
Yeah, they probably have that turned off as well. Probably have a little bit more FOV about it too. You know, that angle there is supposed to represent what it would actually be like if you're racing this car. You cannot see over the top of the steering wheel in these things. You have to literally lift your head up. So it's real tough. It's tough to call out, especially from a cockpit angle. But yeah, it didn't even look like from that angle that he would even see him there alongside him. You know, he would expect to get plenty of racing room on the inside line. We'll see what race control say about it. It was a bit of a controversial moment, and unfortunately, our hearts break a little bit more as well. Mitch Noble's just gotten his wave around, so he's only just getting back onto the lead lap, Hutto, and it's going to be a big clawback for him at the back of the field to make his way through. This may be a drop round just yet for him.
Look, it's early days. Like, we've still got 30 good minutes of racing, perhaps, if the safety car's in at the end of this lap. Look, 30 minutes is a long time around this track. There's a lot of laps to be completed, and some drivers may or may not have completed their pit stops. There's a lot still up in the air tonight, Hamish.
There really is. I mean, if we look at who have had their pit stops, and if the two-stopper is going to be the better option, everyone ahead of Jay Dixon has not pit. Jay's back in P13. Nick Schmalenberg then separates him and Greg Bradley. Nick has not pit. And then from Dean Singovich back to Gordon McCulloch, none of those drivers have taken a pit stop in the early portion of this race. So it could be up in the air for some of these drivers. Jay Dixon may just yet be provisional leader of this race. We won't know until final pit stops have occurred and we have a better idea of where everyone is going to be lining up throughout this strategy play as they make their way up towards Moss Corner.
I think the drivers are going to need another safety car. The drivers that have pitted already, they pitted on lap 5, they're going to need that extra safety car because there's no way they can string out. They might be able to push it to maybe 27 minutes of racing, but if you've already been out behind the safety car, it does chew a little bit of fuel, nowhere near as much as when we're actually racing. As we see the safety car just pull away. But I think it's a gamble, and I appreciate and I love it when a driver does, you know, throw an idea up there, or they, you know, gamble, roll the dice, as we were talking about last week. Yeah, but these drivers will need another safety car for sure.
I actually think they might need two, because the further on we get in this race, the less time they're going to want to have the safety car out on track. It's also dependent on those waiver rounds as well. Right now, if we had another safety car, we'd have 3 waiver rounds. After that, we may have no waiver rounds, you know. So it's a tough call for them to make, and whether it's going to be worth it or not, they could get those 3 waiver rounds done incredibly quickly, especially if the safety car, say, were to get called the next lap. But if we go 5 laps or 10 laps without a safety car, it's going to be even tougher to get everyone resituated. As we get green flag running once again as Marcus Knitska starts lap 8, 11 minutes into this race now. Scotty Barton is back onto the rear of that Pace Syndicate car, but it's 2 Pace Syndicate cars in the top 3 at the moment, as Roberts, doing what he does best, running consistent and clean racing, has found himself up into P3 on the road.
Yeah, like we're saying the earlier notes, Hamish, like Pace Syndicate, they seem to just, you know, chip away, keep it clean. And like you said, now they found themselves at the front. Hopefully these guys can all continue, along with Scotty Barton and Scotty Pocock. And just note as well, Callum Roseneater sitting in P5. Fantastic.
Yeah, it's absolutely incredible thus far. This race is up 9 spots. Jace Douglas has had a moment at turn 3. He is into the tyre barrier. That might even be at turn 1, actually. So he's now requesting a tow back to pit lane. I do not think that'll cause a safety car. I think he's far enough off the track just to get given the tow for the moment. But right now, possible change for the lead into the final couple of corners. Knitska and Barton side by side. Barton pulls out of it at the last minute, but what has happened to Knitska there? Off the tyre barrier, very lucky not to collect anyone on the way back through. He is off the track, and he is looking to head back to the rear end of the field.
Yeah, another victim. Like these pros, like they are racing hard. Well, just everyone's racing hard, but we don't want to see it result in accidents. It is a shame. But look, it's entertaining when they're going side by side, but I just don't think this track does lend itself to some fantastic racing. It's just we're not quite getting the refinement we'd hoped for, Hamish.
Yeah, and I don't know if that was actually anyone's fault. He's just caught a bit of curve.
Oh, he's hit the...
Yeah, so he's just turned it in slightly too tight again, and it comes down to hitting your marks, getting in there, and trying to run those consistent laps. And again, having a driver around you, you know, not Scotty Barton's fault, being in a battle, having a driver around you, that puts you off at this point in the race, and you just make a mistake like that. As there's been a moment at Moss between De Bono and Anderson. What has happened between them down at turn 5, the double right-hander? So they're side by side in behind Cowie. As they come up over the hill, De Bono's just moved over slightly on Anderson as they've come through. Oh my God, and it is absolutely falling apart right now. I think that could possibly be another safety car.
What's going on there? Is he...
Yeah, Barton's in, so maybe he thinks he's got damage, maybe he's got a drive-through possibly, I don't know. He hasn't stopped, he's had a drive-through penalty, so maybe they felt that he was at fault for something. Phil Weller saying a lot of folk are running too much rear brake bias, and whilst it gets you the rotation, yeah, that can cost you. But I think what I think has cost Knitska, for example, is just him hitting that curve. It's just unweighted the car, unfortunately. But I do agree that the instability means it gives challenge and consistency. Exactly right. So I know that Cowie was running a more forward bias, Hutto, in this race because he wanted to be a little bit more consistent through the corners instead of trying to get extra rotation under brakes. And it's paying off for him at the moment. He's up 15 spots in this race into P20. The biggest mover so far, though, is Daniel Byrne, up 25. Wow. That is unbelievable.
I don't think he'll make the 34 we saw last week.
No, I don't think so. There's not enough drivers in front of him to do that, unfortunately. But speaking of that, though, Benici and Ferguson, they are up 21/22 positions alongside each other, and they're swapping and changing positions at the moment. But Ferguson, unfortunately, is going to drop down a couple of spots here as they come past the pit lane. Jackson Rihanna in the Facebook chat saying, look forward to GSRC versus SRW clash at the end of the... It's at the end of the season, not at the end of the year. We've got it coming up in 6 weeks' time. Or 5 weeks' time, actually, now. It's 5 weeks' time now, Hutto. So we are getting closer and closer to the showdown of the century between SRW Super Formula Lights and GSRC Super Formula Lights. The top 20 from each battling it out in an undisclosed location at this stage. I just want to point out as well, Dean Sinkovic up 15 spots and into P12 at the moment here, Hutto. Absolute scenes if he can somehow get a top 10. I just want to point out yet another little stat for us. Rossanita and Hodgkinson. Where are they situated? P3 and P4. Where did they start? Alongside each other. There are connections here, Hutto. When they start alongside each other on the road, they make big gains up inside the top 10. And it's happening once again here as Greg Bradley's had an off track once again. So cars, they're flying off everywhere at the moment. They are flying off everywhere.
Yeah, that's another safety car. That'll really play into the hands of the drivers that pitted on lap 5. So we'll see what happens from that one.
Jamie Nankerva saying that was a shit call from admin. Scott penalised for that. Well, it hasn't even been confirmed that was what he was penalised for, if it was for that or if it was for something else, Hutto. I mean, from our eyes, how we saw it, you know...
It perhaps was an earlier incident, because who knows? I really don't know.
Yeah. You know, and race control, they'd be looking at all the angles. They would have seen every little tidbit of detail. So there may have been something that we didn't see off that incident, you know. They'll slow it down. They'll have a proper look at it. It may not have even been the bump on the curb that caused it. He may have clipped Knizner's car, and then that pushed Knizner into the curb, and then they forced him to get him unweighted. We're not sure. You know, they would have had a very deep look at it. So, but lap 12. Oh, sorry, Hutto, what were you going to say?
No, you far away, mate.
I was going to say lap 12 now, lap 13 now of this race. We are 17 minutes into this one. Dave Roberts leads to Scott Pocock, Callum Rossanita, Calvin Hodgson, Doug Gowans. That is the top 5. There's been a drive-through penalty given to car 909 for contact lap 1 at turn 5. That there is going to Scott Barton. So that was what that was for. It was not for the incident with Marcus Knizner. It was for an incident early in the race as Nick Schmalenberg's found himself parked up on the main straight and dropping positions at the moment.
And just touching back to the Australian Open Wheel Nationals at the end of the season, it's good to see the GSR guys tuning in, doing a bit of homework on the SRW drivers, and I'm sure the SRW drivers are probably starting to keep an eye out for who's on the other side of the fence as well.
Well, one of the biggest doubts, arguably, is Phil Vella at the moment. Does he make the top 20, and can he represent SRW in that race? I mean, surely we have to have a bit of a veto and to say, hey, Phil's our fastest driver. He's racing regardless of top 20. I mean...
It has to be fair for everyone, right, though? If he's P21, like, these drivers have burnt their spots, so I guess the guys at GSRC will be praying that he doesn't come back. I hope Vella does come back and waves a flag for SRW, because, I was actually quite looking forward to, I guess, a Vella versus Rihanna showdown. Rihanna, I think, is leading the pack over there at GSRC, so, it's of what could have been, but, there's always... perhaps other races further in the year. There might be one after season 4, presuming this one goes very well. But I guess the hype that's already been created on our side of the fence, I can see it being a long-term thing.
Just quickly as well, car 596, Johnny Rowe has been given a drive-through penalty contact on lap 10 at Moss Corner once again. So we'll see if we have anything on the notes to see if we can find that incident that actually happened. Yep, that'll be this one with Jason Douglas. So this was down at turn 5. So there's Jace. Where is Johnny Rowe? Oh, so Jace had already gone off track at that point. It'll be this one then. So this is Johnny Rowe. He's got Mitch Noble on his inside. Oh, yeah, just turns in on him, unfortunately. And just causes himself to head off track. So it's unfortunate for Johnny Rowe. He's... done okay in the last couple of weeks, but still struggling back in the field. Just trying to rejoin there, so just trying to find his footing in these cars and trying to get up the order. Phil Vella saying I was looking forward to it too, dudes. But a lot of strong drivers represent SRW as well. Well, this is also true, but we would have hoped to have had our our winningest driver on track. Hutto, is that the right word? He's won the most races.
That's very accurate. But in saying that, how good is it that if we're going to take 20 drivers across, you look at the top 10 now, we've got 2 Pro-Ams and an AM sitting in the top 10. And we're going to take 20 guys or 20 drivers across. Like, I'm not going to say we're going to win, but I think we are going to take a very strong team heading into this one.
I agree with you. And what I think as well is, what'll be fantastic, Hutto, is if we were to get 10 pros, 5 Pro-Ams and 5 AMs. I reckon that would
magic
be
numbers,
a phenomenal split to have our 10 best pros, our 5 best pro-ams, and our 5 best AMs. That'd be fantastic.
Yeah, I guess as it stands, it's just the top 20 guys that'll go across.
Oh,
so,
that's what I'm hoping ends up being the top 20. Like, I'm hoping we get the top 10,
Well, in saying that, like, these guys are making good points. As I look at the overall ladder here in my notes and whatever, there's, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 pro-ams inside the top 20 right now, and 20th position is Mr. Callum Roseneder, who's sitting in P4 right now. So, look, it's still early days. This is our 5th round in, and there's still a drop round to be had as well. So there's no reason why potentially another, maybe 1 or 2 AMs, I think, could make the top 20. And I expect maybe 1 or 2 pro-ams to push into that top 20 as well.
Well, it'll be very, very interesting how this pans out for the rest of the season. We have 4 rounds left after this week, including 2 F1 shadow rounds at Zandvoort and Monza within the next 2 weeks as well. Car 705 drive-through penalty contact on lap 14 at turn 9. That is going to be going the way of Jason Depp, unfortunately. So he will now find himself traversing through the lane. Jackals in the chat saying retired, unfortunately, too much damage. Felt strong here too, but it is what it is. It's unfortunate, mate. Happens at the best of times to the best of drivers out there. It's unfortunate. Shannon Wright saying going well, ESR. It's going very well thus far, although Scotty Barton did cop himself a drive-through, but he has recovered nicely. He's P12 on the road at the moment and on the cusp of the top 10. On board at the moment with Ben Brook, who's amongst this battle, with Jay Dixon in behind him, and ahead of him he has Dougie Gowans and Thomas Donahoe, so we're able to get both angles of this battle that is occurring between them. This is amongst the top 10 right now. Brook is the 2nd highest seeded Pro-Am driver in the field at the moment. He's P2, P8 on the road, up 17 positions. Further up from them, Daniel Byrne has now claimed a 27th position gained in this race, Hutto, and he is flying towards 30.
Yeah, do you reckon he's going to crack the 30?
I think.
He's got to get past Roseneder, Hodgkinson. He might be able to pick those guys off, but yeah, if he makes P2 from P29, that's a fair effort. That's a very good effort.
That's an immense effort if he can get that done. How's the other
video?
Oh, sorry. You go ahead, Hutto. Just quickly, I was going to answer the question in the chat.
Yeah, Scotty Pocock currently sitting in P1. Hasn't won a race here at SRW just yet, so he might be on board for his maiden victory.
We said there'd be a maiden winner tonight, Hutto. We made the claim, and it's currently on.
Crossed.
We're on wood for it. Hodgkinson has now made his way past Callum Roseneder for P3 on the road. That is how close they are to Daniel Byrne. So he could quite possibly pick them both off. If he does, he will crack 29 positions gained. He would need P2 to get the 30 in this race. Jackals in the chat saying, how's the other VRT boys going? I'm not in the session anymore. So at the moment, Jordan is the highest seeded velocity racing driver in P13, up 24 spots. We then have Tyler Sheaf, P23. He's down a couple. Jason Depp up 9 in P27. Matt Tessuero, unfortunately, a lap down, P31. Johnny Rose, P28 on the road at the moment, as I believe Depp has just come in for his drive-through. And then, yeah, just yourself at the back end of the field, unfortunately. So, somewhat positive night for the team. They've got a car in the top 15, Hutto, who's up a bunch of spots and on wood to get inside the top 10. That'll be good, at least one good performance for them here at Mosport.
Yeah, it's good to see, I guess, the drivers bank those points, try and keep it clean. I'm just looking up and down the leaderboard. We've got Daniel Byrne up 27 spots. Ferguson up 24, Benici up 23. I guess the velocity racing guys are doing quite well as well.
As turn 1 at the moment on your screen, you've got Timothy Schmalenberg and Andrew Cowan having a tight battle at the moment. This is for P16 on the road. Cowie is up 19 spots at the moment. Schmalenberg is back where he started in this race, which is P17.
Does he get around the outside? Is he going to... Oh, this will be interesting going into turn 5.
Cowie's smart here.
Please.
Yeah, I think Cowie's... Oh, no, I was going to say he's smart here. He might pull out of it, but they're going to go too wide through Moss. Oh, my God. You could only put a singular playing card between them. Absolutely no space at all in that corner. That right there was as tight as it's ever going to get through there without contact. And Cowie has to pull in behind Timothy Schmalenberg to try and get the run down towards the final couple of corners here at the end of the Andretti straight. As this battle is starting to heat up, we have got 15 minutes to go of this race, Hutto. We've had 2 safety cars, I think, in this race, I believe.
I think it's... Oh, God, huge contact.
Oh, my God, who was it with?
That was Cowan and Schmalenberg.
Oh, my God.
I was on board with McCulloch.
You know what? We were waiting for it to happen, weren't we? And unfortunately, Schmalenberg's in it incorrectly into the pit lane. That's also going to be a penalty for him from iRacing.
Look, we'll take the penalty and get out of the way, right?
You do. It's the safest option, but unfortunately now he's blocking the pit lane, and if he can't get in, then that's going to be a safety car, surely. So he's trying to...
another car out in the weeds,
Oh
I think,
my...
down past turn 4.
Oh, my God. That was huge.
Safety car has been called.
Yep, expectedly, I would say. Where's Cowie? He's towed back to pit. So I think there was actually another car that actually collected him, possibly. I was trying to see who it was in the field. Was it Andrew Johnson? Oh, Ben Brooks off track. So, oh my God, yeah, Johnson's off track too. And all the front cars are now coming in. So this could now be the saving grace for Jay Dixon right now here, Hutto, because he arguably needed 2 more safety cars to get home. And this might be able to allow him to get home now, because we've gone quite a long time without a safety car, and there are a heap of waiver rounds to be handed out. So we could be under safety car for upwards of 3 or possibly even 4 laps. This could save him here.
Well, how many cars are eligible for waiver rounds? Well, it won't be the 2 guys that brought out the incident, obviously. So we're looking at... Oh, where are we?
So we got... Well, so Ben Brook, although he's I think he might be towing back. So it'll be Johnny Rowe, Tesseriero, Konitska, Bradley, Douglas would all get waiver rounds. Brook and Johnston might, although they did actually call a safety car. I think Schmalenberg and Rushworth would get it.
The safety car does have the leader, so these guys might have been able to skip ahead and probably get past the safety car, hopefully, and get their lap back just through the normal runnings of the race.
That would quicken things up a little bit. Karen, yeah, saying, man, that's crushing. Was on for the win if everyone else had to pit. That's unfortunate, Cowie. Probably a little bit overzealous with that call.
Yeah, Joe Dixon's still ahead of you, mate.
Yeah. I mean, maybe he's thinking of the class win. Maybe that's what he thought. But yeah, Ben Brook has now been allowed to tow back to pit. So is Andrew Johnston. So I believe the waiver rounds we'll be getting is Johnny Rowe, Matt Tesseriero, Marcus Konitska, Greg Bradley, Andrew Cowan, Jace Douglas, and Andrew Rushworth at the moment. If Anderson was to join the field, he'd also get 1, but I don't think he's in the session anymore. So we're getting 7 waiver rounds under this safety car. Phil Bell saying the Dixon strats. Hey, it's paid off. It has paid off for Jay Dixon. He is at the front of the field. He has got former leader Scott Pocock in behind him. The absolute scenes, Hutto. If Dixon needs to pit and Pocock were to take his maiden win in SFLs, that would be insane, wouldn't it? That would. Am I clutching at straws too much, or would that be insane?
Mate, we can't rule anything out. Like we saw Dougie Gowan's win from. We didn't see it coming at all as the front two were battling. But look, I'd love to see a new race winner. But in saying that, like it's been a long time between drinks for Jay Dixon. So look, anyone in this top 5, top 10 could deservedly win this race. So, yep. Anything's to come. Hamish?
Well, first-time winners. So drivers who've not taken a win just yet in that top 10. Pocock, Rosanita, Hodgkinson, Donahoe. Everyone else has taken a win, I believe.
Correct.
Just outside the 10 as well, Sinkovich and Wakefield yet to take a win. Same with Ferguson. Now, I'm not claiming that they're going to take wins, but imagine if Dean were to win. Imagine, out of absolutely nowhere, top 10 blows up, Sinkovich crosses the line P1. It would be all over the SRW Facebook page. Sinkovich has finally won a race. Oh, what?
We'd love to see it. We'd love to see it.
We would. It's out of the two, who would you prefer take their first win, Hutto? To put you on the spot.
Oh, in the top 10?
No, out of the two Sinkoviches.
Stephen, because he's fought and fought. Like I think Dean will do it, but I'd like to see Stephen do it. Just just because I think so many people say, give him a little bit of stick for spinning around and around and around. So, yeah.
It's fine. Adam Hughes has taken the shine on spinning cars this week after spinning the safety car last night now. So
I did hear about that. I haven't seen the footage.
Yeah, he's the latest Spinovich in the SRW team. But yeah, out of the drivers inside the top 10s, out of Pocock, Rosanita, Hodgkinson and Donahoe, who would you hope to take their first win tonight?
Oh, I think most likely would be Scotty Pocock.
Yeah, I think so.
If the stars align, Donahoe could get it done, but he's still got to fight through a lot of drivers there. But Hodgkinson, he's no slouch, and Rosanita's up, up the P5. We only need to, as we've seen plenty of times already, the front couple, have an incident or someone runs wide. So, look, if I was Rosanita, he's probably packing it right now, but hopefully we can talk to him as our race winner.
Well, it would be probably.
Well, what about a Callum 1-2?
Oh, imagine after we mentioned the stats of them starting alongside each other and moving up through the field this season. What a storyline that would be for them to start alongside and for them to finish 1-2 as an AM and a Pro-Am. A match made in heaven, a Callan and a Callum 1-2, with either of them taking their maiden win. It would be the biggest showcase we could ever have. Not biggest showcase, it would be probably one of the biggest moments we could ever have in this series, is either of those guys taking their first win outside of the pro class. That would be phenomenal.
Well, what we need is if there are any more Callums or Callans out there watching tonight, start racing. Get in here. We want to see a Callan podium. 1, 2, 3. That's what I want.
Apparently there's a VRTQ. Oh, there is too. Wow, a VRTQ at the back of the field. Chief Depp, Rowan Tessiero. Unfortunately, Ferguson's ruining it for them by being so far up the field. But what's currently...
It's a team meeting, is it?
Yeah, I think so. Then they're discussing their strategies, what they're going to do to get inside the top 20, possibly.
Guys, we've got to get more spots. Right,
yeah. All right, so Ferguson, crash everyone ahead of you and let us through. That's how we're going to get 5 cars in the top 15. They do not do that, I can promise you. But what we currently have at the moment, the current play at hand, we have Jay Dixon, multiple-time winner. A long time between drinks in terms of a race win. Scotty Pocock yet to take a win here in SRW for the Super Formula Lights. Dave Roberts, last season's champion, defending champion at the moment, has won races. Darren Fahey, been away for a long time between drinks for him for a win. Callum Rosanita, as an AM, inside the top 5, could take his first maiden victory at the front end of the field for an overall win here tonight if it cards align for him. Byrne and Gowans, multiple-time winners. Gowans took the fairy tale win last week. Byrne is the defending F1 Shadow Series champion. Hodgkinson, possible maiden win on offer for him. Barton, long time between drinks for a win. Donahoe on a possible maiden win as well. 2 ESR cars at the back end of the top 10. They could start to work together to make their way through the field. We're going to have 6 minutes to go in this race. No more safety cars. It'll be straight green running to the checkered flag. And it's all on offer as the whole field has been bunched back up. And Jay Dixon is going to lead them away through the final corner. We'll see when he goes, Hutto. And he's gone early. He's gone before the final corner. He's tried to catch Pocock napping. But Pocock has gone with him here off the restart. We start lap 25. 6 minutes to go. Sorry, lap 24. With 6 minutes to go on this race. Dixon leads to Pocock, and it's all on offer. And if any of them blow it up, there'll be drivers in behind to pick up the crumbs that they leave on the road.
Another thing to add as well, does Dixon have enough fuel to get home? Hopefully that safety car period's done enough for his fuel tank.
Well, not just Dixon, as well as Fahey as well. Both of them pitted on lap 5 and lap 6 respectively. So these guys have been out on track for a long, long time. The tyres are absolutely screaming. The fuel tanks are empty. It's whether the DFR cars can make it home at the moment in clean running, as multiple cars have been losing a couple of positions through Moss Corner, but I think that's just the natural progression of overtakes. Down Andretti Straight we come now. There'll be 5 minutes to go when we cross the line. 25th lap of this race, and Pocock is all over the back of Jay Dixon at the moment, and there is absolutely nothing in it as Fahey trying to make his way around Roberts. Byrne and Gowans are still coming on through too wide. It's all happening in amongst the top 10, Hutto, and the battles are on. for the Miners, but not only that, for the win as well, as Dixon and Pocock are separated by less than 0.3 of a second with 5 minutes to go.
You're right over there, Hamish. Take a breath, mate.
I'm sorry. It's intense. It is intense. Johnston's had a crash in the background, Hutto as well. Cowie's been involved. I think Brooke's been involved too. Oh my God, it is absolutely blowing up at the worst of times.
Yeah, it's absolutely tight at the front here, isn't it, Hamish? Is what Dave Roberts less than 0.3 off, and I guess he'll be looking to
Dixon's
get that.
off.
Oh, who's off?
Dixon's off.
Dixon's off.
He's off at Mosport.
Pocock in the lead.
Oh my God! Absolute scenes. Absolute scenes.
We've still got 4 laps, Hamish. This race is not over. This race is absolutely not over.
It proves that anything can happen at any point. Piccoli's had an incident in the background as well. But we've got to stay with this battle, because if that can happen to Jay Dixon, it can happen to any of the top 3. And Rosanita's lurking. He's in P4 at the moment. If it happens to all of them, he is on for a maiden win. But all eyes, all pressure is on Scott Pocock, who is now leading this race, and if he can survive the next 3.5 minutes, he will be a race winner here for the Cooler Master Super Formula Championship for the very first time. We could be on for the prediction to be true here, Hutto, and it would be absolute fireworks if it happens.
Sometimes we get it right, Hamish. Not often, but sometimes, yeah, I guess our wishes do come true.
Sometimes they do indeed. Fahey and Roberts, they're lurking at the moment. Pocock just needs to try and keep it clean. Was it the cold tyres that cost Dixon? Was it the pressure that cost him? We'll never know the answers for right now. There's battles happening in the background with Dixon and Byrne and Barton. We've got Rosanita and Gowans. Gowans has now made his way past him as well. As we come down Andretti Straight.
The back's full right up the back straight.
Oh my God, it's an absolute drag race between all of them. They need to be careful here, Hutto, as they come up.
Just close your eyes.
How have they made it through there? Oh, they haven't. Dixon's had contact with Byrne.
No.
Rosanita's been involved as well. Hodgkinson has made it through somehow. Yeah, I need to put
those. The big beneficiary there.
He was. I need to put the particles on low, I think, not medium. That was the problem right there. As we come round up towards turn 3, it's been absolute chaos here. I do apologise for these late blinks. Hopefully those cars can tow back to pits quite quickly to get the particles off the road. Oh my God, it is.
And the leaders are coming up on lap traffic.
Oh my God, every little piece of opportunity, every little piece of chaos that could happen in the dying embers of a race are happening right now. Everything.
And how long have we got? What?
We've got
a minute and a half.
A minute and a half.
Go, yeah. 2 laps.
It might only be 1.
Oh, can Fay get it done? Well, it's a minute 10 a lap, right? Oh, they've got to cross before the 50. So, Fay will be praying that they cross the line very soon. They're going to get 2 laps.
Yeah, they'll get 2 laps. So, Pocock crosses the line. 2 laps to go. 2 laps for him to survive up towards his maiden victory here in Super Formula Lights. I think Ferguson and Singovic have had a crash at the back end of the top 10. That's now promoted Sheaf, Depp, Kanitska, King up into those positions, as well as Katakazinas. But we're all eyes on this front 2 battle. Less than 3 tenths.
He lets him pass. Fantastic job.
He'll be screaming blue flags at the moment, will be Scott Pocock. We've got Fahey lurking on the back of him. He's going to have the tow down the Andretti Straight. Pocock needs to try and hold him off as hard as possible right now. Down the Andretti Straight comes Scott Pocock and Darren Fahey. He's got the run. He's going to go for the outside line. It's a drag race.
What's going on? He's just back to... I think he's playing the smart game. He's going to wait for that final lap to get it done.
Yep, he doesn't want to give Pocock the tow on the final lap.
The wall. See ya.
Someone's been in the wall, apparently, as we come round the final corner. White flag lap, 1 lap to go for Scott Pocock to become a maiden winner here in the Super Formula Championship. If he'd waited a couple more seconds, he would have gotten the checkered flag. But it's one to go for Pocock. It's one to go for Fahey. There's one opportunity left for Fahey to get this done if he can. He's got all pressure right now applied to Scott Pocock. He's just, how can his pressure gauge withstand this from Darren Fahey right now, Hutto? Everything is on him right now. He has to survive through Moss. He has to survive the toe. He has to survive the run into the final couple of corners. And if he does, he will claim his first victory here on Wednesday night.
Oh, one long straight and three more corners, Hamish. He's 180, 200 beats per minute, I think.
The heart rate will be full firing. Fahey, I don't think he's close enough here, Hutto.
I don't think he's got the run.
He might have the run, but I don't think he's close enough into the final couple of corners. Scott Pocock, he's kept it clean. He's got the run. Scott Pocock is going to take his maiden win in the Super Formula Championship to Darren Fahey, to Dave Roberts in the top three. What a run home for Scott Pocock. Gowans and Byrne the top five. Hodgkinson, P1 for the Pro-Ams, P6 ahead of Thomas Donahoe, Matthew Gerard, Sam Katakazinas and Josh King makes up the top 10. What a race, Hutto. What a race.
Oh, mate, that was fantastic. Phenomenal racing by the front two. Like, oh, let's just take a breath.
I need a breath. I need a drink. I need everything right now. I need life support. That right there. My heart was beating for Scott, and I cannot imagine how there would be a bruise on his chest in the morning from how hard his heart would have been beating then and there.
Congratulations to Scotty Pocock. That was brilliant racing. Not only for Pocock, but Fahey as well. Like, it was a very, very entertaining couple of laps.
You got to give your round of applause to him. I mean, phenomenal racing from Scott. We picked it at the start. If it was going to be anyone for a maiden win, it was going to be him. And he's done phenomenal. Up 5 spots in this race. Biggest mover in this race was Daniel Byrne. He was up 27 positions throughout this race here tonight. It was absolutely chaotic, absolutely phenomenal. Yeah, you have to give your flowers. You have to take your hats off to him. Scott Pocock is a winner for the first time in Cooler Masters Super Formula Championship history here on Wednesday nights. And in the last 2 weeks, Hutto, in the feature, we have had an unpredictable winner. Last week it was Gowans. This week it was Pocock. Next week, Callum Rossonita wins at Zandvoort. I'm making the claim.
Oh, big call, big call. I reckon we're going to return to a bit more of a status quo thing. I think we'll have another repeat winner.
Yeah, I honestly, I believe you, but I think if it is going to be a new winner, I think it's going to be Rossonita. He's been putting in the laps. He's been putting in the work. He has been racing phenomenally thus far. We will quickly
get unfortunate Rossonita come to, I guess, to grievances there at the end, but he was doing so well in that top 10 and just, very unfortunate.
Yeah, it was incredibly unfortunate for him. As I can see, you're looking at your teammate in the wall at the moment, Hutto. I don't know, what's he done there?
I guess he just parked it up into a wall.
I suppose he has. So what we're waiting on now is we are waiting on 5 drivers to come and join us here tonight. We are awaiting Nick Schmalenberg, Callan Hodgkinson, Dave Roberts, Darren Fahey, and Scott Pocock to join us here for the post-race interviews. Oh, I have...
How are you going, Hamish? Are you okay over there, mate?
I got a headache. I'm going to be honest. That is just taking it out of me, Hutto. I need.
That was spectacular.
It was phenomenal. Exactly. That's why it was phenomenal. It was fantastic. Apparently, Hughesy's gotten into the grilling section of him spinning the safety car. So that's a nice little laugh for us at the moment. We have got Mr. Hodgkinson. We got Mr. Roberts, I believe.
Schmalenberg's in there too.
Yep.
So let's pull in our AM winner, Nicholas Schmalenberg.
I need it's the N, I'm going to assume, because of streamer mode at the moment. So let's drag in Mr. Schmalenberg. Mr. Schmalenberg, a positive performance for you tonight, sir. A class win, a top 15 finish. How does that feel to get it done for JWM SimSport?
Yeah, good evening, guys. It feels great. It was a bit of a yo-yo of a race. I was leading in P11 in the AM class for quite a while then just looped it on the final corner but kept it off the wall. And then, just kept the car clean again and, safety car fell right in my window and away we went.
I think a yo-yo might be a bit of an understatement for the race as a whole, Nick. I'll be honest, it was... how can we better describe that, Hutto? It was fireworks, carnage, and car crashes, I think.
I'm looking forward to watching this replay, even though I guess, we're upstairs and we see the race live once already. I'm definitely going to go watch this back again. But I guess one for you, Nick. How was that race starting? I believe you had a pit lane start. What was your mentality going into race 1 there?
It was pretty good actually because of how long it takes to get out of pit lane. It was actually quite clear. So, surprisingly, it was quite a calm start to race 1, and I made nearly 20 positions in that first race, which set me up nicely for race 2.
Yeah, I guess another one for you is how'd you go negating all the traffic and the hazards or whatever? Did you any heart and mouth moments throughout either of the races there?
Only really one, and that was that final safety car. As I came into the final corner, there was cars everywhere, people not holding brakes, so I ended up off track, and I think I picked up a bit of damage in that final little incident, but did enough legal blocking to keep the position.
Very good.
We'll have legal in air quotes, shall we, Nick? It was
I'm sure I was nailing it.
Yeah, smart defending, we'll call it, or maybe over defending. Maybe I don't know.
I like it.
Yeah.
No,
any other which
race.
way around, but I mean, you've been driving pretty well in the past couple of seasons, a little bit up and down, but I think that can come about, especially for an amateur for yourself, just trying to find your footing and trying to get comfortable in amongst the car, a car-track combination. This is an especially tough one. Zandvoort next week should be high pace once again, should be a little bit less chaotic. Have you done any laps around there previously, or do you feel confident at that track?
No, none. I even this one, I renewed my subscription about 7:45 and jumped on because I got back from New Zealand earlier this week. So it's been a pretty hectic afternoon. My only practice lap was the one I got disqualified on in qualifying.
Well,
what a difference a couple of weeks off can make, eh?
Yeah, rest and relaxed, right?
Well, that's it. You've cooled the jets, you've lowered the heart rate a little bit, and it's kept you cool, calm, and collected to take out the class win here tonight for the AMs. Let us know who helps get you and JWM Sim Sport out on track, mate. Anyone else you want to give a shout out to as well? And for myself and Brad, congratulations on your amateur class win here at Mosport.
No, thanks, guys. Appreciate it. Thanks to the SRW crew. They do a great job to race control and the admin team. It's a great league. I really enjoy it. Look forward to Wednesday nights every week. And, just thanks to Brewed Coffee, TW Engineering, Tough Customs, TCR Fabrication, Nulon. A special thanks to Wade, as always, for the incredible liveries. The car looks amazing on track. And, a big shout out to my wife and my #1 follower, Tim, on YouTube.
Very good, mate. Best of luck next week for Zandvoort. Looking forward to seeing how you go out there. And if we don't get a chance to speak to you, best of luck for the rest of the season ahead.
Thanks, guys. Unlucky Tim crashed into pit entry.
You are the better Schmalenberg this week.
At least I get one over him, right? Thanks, guys.
Right,
Have a good night.
Thanks, mate.
Couldn't help himself. A bit of brotherly love there.
Oh,
fantastic.
We love a bit of brotherly love in here. If only we went racing in the city of brotherly love. I don't think we even have it.
Yeah.
Oh, do we have a track there? Be in Philadelphia.
But it's, I think that one might make the pool room. I'm sure Nick will probably print out a nice little picture of Tim slamming into the tyre barrier there.
Oh, I hope it is an incredible. I will supply the replay if I have to, just to get that made. That would be hilarious. But we need to drag in our Pro-Am winner from Blackout OPR, Callan Hodgkinson. We were talking about it, Callan, that we thought possibly you could be on for a maiden win here tonight. Unfortunately, the stars just didn't align, but you got yourself a Pro-Am win nonetheless. Good chunk of points in this championship, helping you gain some more positions inside that top 20 to hopefully lock yourself in to that top 20 for the Australian Open Wheel Championship, I should say, at the end of the season. What was that race like for you? Because you were amongst it pretty much the whole way from race 1 into race 2, and just trying to keep it clean out there seemed like an effort in itself. How was that for you?
Yeah, well, good result again, so I'm happy with that. But it was a pretty hectic race. There was a lot going on. One of those tracks that brings that sort of drama, but I ended up taking tyres accidentally in that last race, which is why I sort of bumped back to P8 after the pit stop, which hurt me for either getting on the podium. But all in all, it was great result. So I'm wrapped.
Yeah,
bag of points again.
Yeah, good. I just you almost taking the words out of my mouth. Another fantastic week for you, Callum. Callan. I guess my one question I've got: have you got something going on with Callum? We seem to be seeing you two almost glued at the hip. Have you guys got something like a deal going on that you've got to qualify next to each other, or is it just destiny that you two should be teammates?
I don't know. I thought you might be talking about it. We had was definitely close tonight. We're having a good battle. Need good respect between us. So yeah, thanks to good racing with him. But yeah, I don't know what it is. We just seem to just always glue to each other on the track.
I guess another question is, what if there was an introduction of another Callan or Callum to the series? How would that upset? Is they going to upset the apple cart as such?
Depends if it's an AN or a UM, mate.
Very good.
Only
And I guess
only asking the best questions, Hutto.
Oh, mate. Off the hip. Yeah, I guess in terms of more or less to the championship now, you were sitting in fourth, another good round this week. How do you find your chances moving up the leaderboard with respect to, I guess, just the Pro-Am championship?
Yeah, well, I suppose I can't really do any much more than, a couple of wins tonight's obviously going to help me. So as long as I can keep, because my drop round's still got to be taking place or whatever for that round one suspension. So as long as I keep getting a good bag each week, I'm sure it's going to level itself out and I'll be up there. So hopefully.
Yeah, fingers crossed for you, mate.
Yeah, thanks, guys.
Oh, Callan, a fantastic result for you here tonight. Another class win for yourself and another top 10 finish. Let us know who helps get you and Blackout OPR on track and anyone else you want to give a shout out to as well.
Thanks, guys. Yeah, you guys for the stream, SRW for the league. Blackout OPR, simrigs.com, Pumps and Bakery, Distraction Sim Supply, Shunt Scenery, DSM Painting and Decorating, and Blackout Electrical Solutions. And I'll just say a quick thank you to Loretta. She lets me race most nights, so thank you.
Very good, mate. Well, best of luck next week for Zandvoort, and if we don't get a chance to speak to you, best of luck for the rest of the season ahead.
Thanks, guys.
Thanks, mate. Well, Hutto, I suppose now we need to drag in arguably Mr. Consistent, defending champion of the pro field, Mr. Dave Roberts. Dave, we talked you up at the start of the night that you are one of the more consistent drivers out on the field. You managed to find your way up to the front. It was how you won the championship last season. It's how you could win the championship again this season. And you've done it again. I mean, through brimstone and hellfire, you have done it again, and you found yourself on the podium, P3 on the road, getting yourself a good chunk of points over your championship competitors. Mate, is this championship on again this season?
Yeah, 100%. I mean, I don't know if you guys are up with the news, but poor old Vela is out.
Yeah, we spoke about it. Broke his ankle.
Yep. So the championship's wide open, so it's going to be the best of the rest, I suppose. But no, good track to find some rhythm and flow. And I got super lucky. Obviously, Scott and I both had the racing gods on our side tonight with that late safety car. We were stuffed otherwise. So that was good. All worked out really well.
Well, I mean, you have had an exceptional run, not only this season, but last season as well, Dave. I mean, I still have to apologise again. We overlooked you in that championship battle in the final round last season, and I did it again earlier tonight. Hutto listed out all the names that are in contention now that Vela's out, and I didn't even list you as an option at this point, but you genuinely reminded me how much of an option you in fact are, and how well you could actually do in trying to take this championship by being ultra consistent once again. And just by picking away at those positions, getting yourself a cheeky third, cheeky second, a win every now and again, could take you all the way once again this season. Is it helping you feel confident knowing that doing what you do best is getting you to that point?
Yeah, for sure. And I mean, it's there's certain tracks that we've got coming up too that I'll qualify better. But I didn't qualify too badly tonight, and my race pace was good. A bit of an older boy, 44, compared to some of these younger bucks. So put my skills down to racecraft more than the one lap wonder.
Very good. Dave, I guess for you had a front row seat to a lot of action tonight. How was it going, negating all the spins and crashes that were happening around you? And what were the last couple of laps like watching Faye and Pocock go head to head?
Yeah, I was talking to Marcus, my teammate, on the radio, telling him that they were battling out front, hoping that a mistake might be made. But no, they kept it real clean, and we actually had some really good racing between Darren and Scott and myself, a lot of side by side. Darren and I actually got together there at one stage, but I think it was just a bit of netcode in the end, so came out unscathed in the end. And no, it was an action-packed race, and I was pretty happy to have some clean air for most of it because there was a fair bit happening behind.
I guess another question: how important was qualifying at a track like this today?
Yeah, this track's it's almost like an oval, really. So really hard to overtake. If you do go for overtakes, it costs you seconds, and you end up getting you might get the one overtake, but then you get overtaken by 2 or 3 behind you. So track position was pretty much everything, and that's why I didn't want to come in at that first pit, because I was like, I was in a good position in the top 5 there, and really didn't want to give it up. So it all worked out.
Oh, well, Dave, it has been action-packed all night. I'm going to be honest, my brain is absolutely spent after calling some of that action. But you've gotten yourself another quality podium finish and a great chunk of points going into the last half of this season with Zandvoort and Monza in the next couple of weeks. Could be an opportunity for some more points ahead of you too. I said at the start of the cast that if anyone has a poor round tonight, that could be a real anchor raceful, and that could really hurt their championship run. You have maximised, you've taken a phenomenal amount of points, and you've kept your name within that championship fight as of this week. Let us know, helps get you and Pace Syndicate out on track. Anyone else you want to give a shout out to as well, mate? And for myself and Hutto, congratulations on your P3 overall here tonight for Mosport.
Thanks, Hamish. Big shout out to my teammate Marcus. Helped me a lot today with a few calls, and helps with my confidence along the way as well. And just thanks to you guys for doing an awesome broadcast each week. Thanks, boys.
Well, mate, thanks for coming over chat to us once again. Best of luck for Zandvoort next week, and if we don't get a chance to speak to you, best of luck for the season ahead.
Yeah, thanks. Just keep me in that dark horse status. That'd be great.
Wait, we will. We'll we need
He can't. He's defending champion. He's on our radar. You're actually well, Dave. To be honest, I was looking up the points prior to this race, and you're after the drop round. You're actually coming first if we're discounting Vela. So targets on your back, mate.
Oh no, you said it. All right,
put
thanks,
the Moz
mate.
on
See you
him
guys.
now. See you, mate.
See you guys.
We'll drag in Mr. Fahey, P2 on the road. Darren Fahey, a phenomenal effort here tonight, trying to chase down Scott Pocock. Possibly needed another lap to get it done. We saw that you were going to attempt the move on the second last lap down the Andretti Straight, then decided to pull out of it. Were you going to try and line it up on that last lap and you just weren't quite close enough off Moss Corner, or what happened there?
To be honest, I was happy with second. I've raced with Scotty heaps before, and yeah, just didn't want to risk killing him on his first win. So yeah, he's hard to pass. And
I guess with passing opportunities on this track, how hard was it to pass going up that back straight? It looked like the toe was very favourable, but trying to stick it around the outside proved quite hard for a lot of drivers tonight.
yeah, the toe gets you. It keeps you in the game. It enables you to get alongside, but once you get that aero block, it's not a clean pass. You sort of held back.
Well, Darren, I think Scott owes you a Christmas card now for not attempting to pass him on the final couple of corners of the last lap. You had a phenomenal race, though. You managed to keep it nice and clean. Unfortunate heartbreak, though, for your teammate Jay Dixon, who got caught up in a moment with only a couple laps to go, and with your teammate Phil Vella out with a broken ankle as well. You're currently flying the flag for DFR. What's it like having, I guess, some of that pressure on your shoulders, but also just trying to get yourself a good chunk of points with 4 rounds to go this season, with Phil possibly missing 3 or 4 of them? How are you feeling going into these next couple of rounds? Because next 2 weeks, Zandvoort and Monza could be tough weeks to try and solidify some good points for yourself. What's your mind at? Where's that at? What's your thoughts on the next couple of weeks and how you might be able to go at the tracks we have got coming up?
Yeah, well, you've just put some pressure on me because I honestly don't look at that.
I love putting pressure on you. It's the best. Oh, I think Darren may have muted himself by
Lost him.
accident, Hutto. Yeah. Oh, you're back.
Oh, he's back.
Yeah.
Yep,
Yeah.
we got ya.
I honestly don't look at that stuff, and now you put pressure on me. I did. This is going to hurt. I didn't do any practice for tonight.
Good man. Yes. Another one.
I had a beer, and
All right, it sounds like his microphone's had a beer as well, Hutto.
Yeah. Yes. A sabbatical, perhaps.
Yeah.
Maybe he's doing a cutter jar, just keeping it silent.
You there? Hello.
Yeah, we got you. We've got you, mate. Sorry. Yeah, you're cutting it out just a little bit here, but we have got you for lapses of conversation. I'm glad that we've been able to put a bit of pressure on you. Hopefully that now creates a diamond out of yourself. Let us know who helps get you and DFR out on track. Anyone else you want to give a shout out to as well, mate? And for myself and Hutto, congratulations on P2 here tonight.
Oh, I hope this works. I'd just like to thank Phil and Monica. Sitting at home watching this. Jay's thinking of you, Phil. He spun from the lead. So unlucky for Jay. Unlucky for Jay, but he's thinking of you, mate. And Scotty Pocock, he races on a G27. So
Wow. Wowee. Well, Darren, congratulations once again. Best of luck for Zandvoort next week, mate. Best of luck for the rest of the season if we don't get a chance to chat to you again. And we're looking forward to seeing how you go flying the DFR flag at the front end of the field in the next couple of weeks.
Yeah, I'll be cursing you, Hamish. Thank you.
Have a good one, mate.
Yeah, bye. Thanks, lads.
He does not like the pressure. Well, it goes back to what we were saying earlier, Hutto. He just needs to keep doing what he's doing and he'll get the performances out of him.
Exactly. Chip away, take those points, and he'll find himself right towards the top at the end.
Exactly. He does not need to put any extra pressure on himself. He needs to do what he does best. But right now we have to turn to another maiden winner this season, to Scott Pocock in his very first win here in the Super Formula Championship. Scott Pocock, congratulations. You are the latest name to go on first-time winners for the Super Formula Championship, mate. We were yelling it out to the rafters for you at the end of that one. We made the prediction at the start of the race that A, there would be a first-time winner, and B, it would be Scott Pocock. And thanks to you, you've paid us out, mate. So congratulations. How does that feel to finally get that Moz off your back and get that top step?
I'll tell you, those last laps were sweaty, and you probably were watching it, and I was missing a few apexes, but it feels good to finally get one on the board.
I'll be honest, we were not even focusing on if you were hitting apexes. we were kind of hoping and praying that you'd be able to stay where you were in P1 and just hold Darren off a little bit. You do owe him a Christmas card because he did back off on that last lap. He didn't want to put too much pressure in the last corner. He was happy to claim P2, so he did make it a little bit easier for you into the final couple of corners, but regardless, you had to put your car there at the end of the day to have the opportunity of taking the win, and you maximised when it mattered, mate, and it was phenomenal. It was a phenomenal race from start to finish. Those last 5 laps, I was on the edge of my seat. I gave myself a headache. I was just not breathing that much, hoping that you could pull this off. It was absolutely incredible.
Yeah, I owe Darren a 4-pack of something crafty, that's for sure. But it was this track. It's one of these tracks you really need to just get in a rhythm and stick there. And luckily, my strategy was just to go flat out, because if I tried to fuel save in like around here, it would have just been the end of it. So. Yeah, sort of. I was in the zone.
Very good. I guess you touched on luck as such. How was your race in terms of dodging the traffic or dodging the spinners that were in front? How did the race come towards you?
I think it was just being out in front was the key to it all. Saw the DFR guys. Tried the high IQ pit stop and pitted early, but it almost worked for him. And Jay come out in front and unfortunately did a moss. But my strategy, as I said before, just to go flat out and hit when I needed to was how I stayed out of trouble.
Yeah, good. I guess the high IQ pit stops only work when you don't spin. Sorry, Jay. But another one, Mr. Faze also dobbed you in that you're racing on a G27. I guess, one, are you looking to upgrade your stuff anytime soon, or is it a matter of don't change the winning formula now?
There will be upgrades. This old thing's worn out. It was a second-hand purchase at the start of COVID to jump on board with the iRacing. But yeah, no, I've been kindly donated an old DD that needs a wheel, and but unfortunately my rig won't hold up to it, so that's got to be the next purchase. So we're getting there. I don't know if I'll go away from the pedals though. Just you got used to it, so we'll see how we go there.
Oh well, Scott, I hope you have yourself a nice strong drink to really recenter yourself and take in what has just happened. I highly recommend you watch back the broadcast. It was an intense, race for sure. It was a phenomenal effort from yourself, mate. Congratulations on your maiden win here in the Super Formula Championship. Let us know who helps get you out on track, mate. Anyone else you want to give a shout out to as well? And for myself and Hutto, we want to give you our biggest congratulations on P1 overall for the Cooler Master Super Formula Championship Round 5 out at Mosport.
Thanks, guys. Yeah, I want to just give a get well soon to Phil Vella. It looks like he broke his leg or his ankle breakdancing. So hopefully he can get back on the rig soon and show us all how it's done.
Well, he couldn't have done any worse than Ray Gunn did. That's for sure. I reckon Phil would have gotten points even breaking his ankle off the back of that. But congratulations, mate. It was a phenomenal effort. Best of luck for Zandvoort next week. And if we don't get a chance to speak to you, best of luck for the rest of the season ahead.
Yeah, thanks, guys.
Thanks, mate. Well, Hutto, what a race.
Mate, that was a race that we wanted. After, I guess, the anticlimax, the unexpected winner last week with Dougie Gowans, we've been treated an absolute treat tonight with Scotty Pocock for Red Rocket Racing. Mate, that was phenomenal.
You could not have asked for more of a fairy tale in the last 2 weeks. What's in store next week is Zandvoort.
Let's see. What are we? Another race winner? Or are we going to have I reckon it'll be a very, very close 1-2 as they come around that last bend. That's what I'm hoping for.
Well, it is normal round procedure next week, so we only have on offer 1 win. Same for the week after at Monza. Then we're back for sprint action at Brands Hatch. Then we're at Aragon for the final round. It is going to be an incredible final 4 rounds of this championship, ladies and gentlemen. You do not want to miss any of the action to come. And if you truly don't want to miss any of the action to come, be sure to hit the like button, the subscribe, and the bell icon so you are notified on YouTube whenever we go live here with SRWtv action, including our Tuesday night Warren and Brown Tools. We got Supercars Series, the Wednesday night Cooler Master Super Formula Championship, the Thursday night Shannon's Insurance GRA6 Nationals, the Friday night double bubble of Legends World Challenge in the evening, and then Warren and Brown Tools GTD Series later in the night, and then the Sunday night Warren and Brown Tools V8 Supercars Championship, all on offer for you. 6 racing series across 5 nights a week. We could not possibly ever offer you any more than that. We are trying to, but we could not possibly offer you any more than that. But we so appreciate your time being here with us once again. We have to give a massive shout out to all of our series sponsors, including our title sponsors, Warren and Brown Tools, for their continued support on the Tuesday Supercars, Friday GTDs, and the Sunday Supercars. Thanks to Cooler Master for picking up the support on the Super Formula Championship on Wednesday nights, as well as to Shannon's, who even after having to cut back on some of their support, they continued their support for the GR86 Nationals on Thursday night. For myself, Hamish Munro and Brad Hudson alongside, we appreciate your time, appreciate you being here with us here once again for round number 5 of season 3 of 2024 of the Cooler Master Super Formula Championship out at Canadian Tyre Motorsport Park. But until next time, we thank you for your time. We thank you for being here with us once again. But until then, stay safe, drive hard, and as always, bye for now.
amazing. It was clash heads again. This is like Chaz Mostert and Cam Waters. Almost the same situation. Better contact going down the hill. Sam Noble wants to sniff on Dave Coleman now. Sam Noble bottle right now because tell you what, Bruce Tanak and Jamie Dyke just absolutely